so far the poets that we have, and I'll just introduce them in the order that I'm seeing them, are Christopher Okamwa, whom I believe is joining us from Kisii. Yes, Christopher is a very distinguished lecturer of literature. Christopher, I think by now you're Dr. Okamwa, yes, and he runs the Kisii Stretch Festival in Kisii. And that's a global festival where before Corona, even people have been coming since 2014, every year, 2013. Yeah, well, they've been coming for a long time, all the way from, everywhere from Finland to New Zealand to come to Nairobi and Kisii for his festival. So that's the distinguished Dr. Christopher Okamwa. And he's done individual poetry books, and he's also done, okay, Chris, we can't hear you, you're on mute, but I'm trying to lip read what you're saying. Yes. And then we have with us also today, who can I see next? Jaiwa Makaha. Like Christopher is also a teacher of literature, and I think him is with the Kenyatta University, which is one of the biggest universities in Kenya, just even by sheer numbers. And yeah, he's also a poet and a creative person. And I think we first met at a poetry workshop in Bayreuth, Germany, many years ago. I think that was in 2014. So we are also welcoming Dr. Jaiwa Makaha. Big Chul, please, the stage is yours. You're very welcome. You can just very briefly introduce yourself and then plunge straight into the poetry.
Thank you, Tony. You can hear me fine?
Yeah, you're good.
You're fantastic. Hello, everyone. Yes. My name is Bigwa Chwal. I am from South Sudan, but I live in Melbourne, Australia, on stolen Wurundjeri and Boonwurrung land. I'm an editor also, and I'm really happy to join you on this amazing day. And I'm saddened I won't be able to hear everyone's poem, but I've got a very limited time today. I'm going to jump into it, and I'm going to be sharing a poem called Recipe for a Wide Gap Between Your Teeth. My mother is hard things. Beneath she has infused thick splinters, cautiously mimicking leathery skin. She is heavy. It has flattened her feet. Toughened women do not soften, they rust. My mother is rough handling. She says it shapes prudent daughters, livid when it just presses them wider, and the way she insists. The water, Pew, is the most exquisite and profoundly sweet in Banchom. She means the memories. Her favorite brother is one with the big gap between their top front teeth, like our Guandong grandfather. She declares they look most alike when unbowed by calamity. This is when she speaks about Nook, about love. She loves him, obscured by expanding kilometers, by gaps as wide as between both their top front teeth. In 1997, we nuzzled into each other and took photographs in front of all the bougainvillea in Nairobi. Our favorite is the purple and pink. That April, head outside window on a Sunday, vomit washed back onto the side of the matatu. The conductor insisted my mother clean it. I now try to sleep when I feel nauseous. Intergenerational gaps are mature potholes. We will not arrive cleanly. When father is murmuring the night, I find a birthday card from my mother's brother dated the year 1997. This one, they look most alike in their hair, in their sorghum-sized coils. He is fifth sibling and she is fourth, but he has no gaps in all his clean, straight, white teeth. She complements his gums. They're a pale pink bougainvillea. We presume Guandong has not noticed the language collapse in the mouths of his grandchildren, dispatched to back molars to be chewed occasionally. We hope he thinks of us when he's weaving trinkets. We hope there is some left to return home when we visit very soon. It hurts his hands nowadays. They beg him to slow down. They mean stop. Your smile is a collision. Your mouth is catastrophe with teeth. I am 17 years old. She asked me to explain why I wanted to leave the house when my father died only 2 years ago. My brave brother boy, His tears fall faster than he can ball his hands into fists, weep, mourn, reaches out to embrace quicker than he can implode into rage, recipe to compelling softness. He looks like Baba, therefore graduates for sibling and arch for flat feet. Come home and see the okra bloom flowers, clip Guandong's toenails and stroke his white hair with a soft comb. He laughs with his spirit, quells our casual skepticism with delicious kindness, spit and ceremony poth. There are no children here of a lesser God. There is rest. Snatch it from the kilometers expanding, prepare the place we can lay. Mother, sleep long, sleep long, sleep long. Mother, sleep long till your eyes. Mother, sleep long till your sides hurt. This next poem is called Birth Water. To the children whose birth water is broken by whizzing of shrapnel, this is our portion. We know siege as sunken eyes. We know it in the jabbing hunger pains. We know it in heavy bones, self as exhaustion, fleshy contusion, conversation that is slim, slender. Home is a promised quake, deep orange skies that invite birds that squat, scrap, and scavenge. The blood has made it to the groundwater. We know the reeking smell of almost entirely well. We cannot hold it to our cracked lips, so we bite down on our children and our kin bleed. There is time to perish, but there is no time to mourn. There is time to rot, but there is no time to bury. Home is suspicion. Home is crouch face down on cement pavement, hands up, down behind the small of your back, away from your body, fear bulging. What is sanctum on unceded land? We say we have survived. A new chaos embraces us softly, quietly excreting. The dead now do not motivate our fathers to get up or show up. They pour another cup. This is a bottomless tea. The dead now do not motivate our mothers to teach their sons substance. Our black skin hangs loose. We lather it with oil to keep it from running. The sorrow becomes an invited companion. It needs us for a home. Fear cannot raise its mothers. Fear cannot give nutrient to the soul. Fear punches holes in the future. Fear cannot mend them. It siphons the chaos for later. Home always comes late, if at all. Later always comes so soon. We cannot swing across oceans with these mangled roots. When war breaks, we run. With few belongings, we will not carry our language. Wars raging behind clenched teeth. We will not find belonging. To fathers that sleep with guns in their hands but will never hold their children, legacy does not fill the gaps. You've turned our names to weights that crush our backs. You've turned our names into sinking sand. What are hunger pains to torn limbs? What is plumbing to broken spirits? What are roots if they choke you? We say home is so far. The same oceans are sitting between folk looking into each other's eyes. Our portion is silence. They imagine home is settled soot. They imagine country is running. We now know refuge is both. Thank you so very much.
Yes, yeah. Yes, thank you very much, Bigoa. That was just absolutely wonderful and just very deep and a very, thoughtful and passionate pieces. We are very proud of you and thank you for representing us even in the land down under. Yes, yes. I'm sure Men at Work is your favorite song. Yeah. So thank you so much. And, even when you go to your next meeting, thank you for blessing us with that wonderful opening act. Okay, so I suppose we'll go now to the next gentleman. He's called Kokauvi. You'll pardon me, sir, if I don't pronounce your name properly. Kokauvi Zifa Gali. It's a very poetic name.
Okay.
Yes.
Bonjour.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Bonjour.
Oui, je vais présenter donc mon premier poème. Le titre, c'est Ma mère. La voix de ma mère, délice d'une mangue mûre en ma mémoire. La sève d'une mère, un amour immaculé, comme une berceuse, averse d'un sommeil qui coule et qui ne laisse éclore qu'un petit visage épanoui. Chaque nuit, elle sort de son corps, drapée d'une percale blanche, étoile filante, engouffrée dans l'intime d'un monde mystique. Le second poème est intitulé Espoir. Une île dans le désert. Un voile accoste. Une naissance est née. La verdure est plus verte. Le sourire du soleil est plus clair. Le ciel plus bleu. Les rapaces ont fui devant la nouvelle vie. Plus de vautours, plus de chacals, plus de morsures du sable. Le sabre en la chaleur ploie sous les vents de glace. Une île dans ma tête, une île dans l'océan du désert de ma tête. Une île comme un i trémant, deux points qui marquent la fin des mots et annoncent de nouveaux horizons avec une verdure du dimanche.
Thank you so much, Zifra Gali. I don't understand French, but at least it was very melodious. So thank you very much. I suppose you performed your 2 poems?
Yes, yes.
Okay, fantastic. Yes, thank you very much, Bwana Gali. I hope you are around with us at least for a while. So thank you. Great. Okay, I can see Timmy Tope has joined us, and so has hi, and so has a man called Patron. So the next up is my good friend, Dr. Jaiwa Makaha. Welcome very much, Daktari. And you can just proceed. I think I gave you a very fulsome introduction.
Thank you. Are you able to hear me?
Very clearly. Yes.
Thank you very much, Tony. It's a pleasure to be in the midst of these great poets from across the continent. Of course, my details are on the website of this particular event, so I don't need to go into that, but I'm just a creative writer from Kenya who also teaches literary arts at Public University in Nairobi.
Fantastic. Karibu.
Yes?
Yes, no,
Okay,
I'm saying
thank you.
Karibu. Yes, yes, welcome.
I'm going to present 3 pieces of poetry today, and I salute all of you on this auspicious occasion of World Poetry Day. Hongereni sana, Kongole. The first poem is entitled Democracy Dies in Darkness. After the storming of the US Capitol in 2020, when in the midst of the whispering wheel that occupies the vault of whirlwinds, announcing its urgency of intention, men and women of resolution and note have demonstrated to ears and eyes near and yonder that faced with imminent peril of immediate chaos, Democracy will always outrun darkness. Democracy will always embrace the soft arms of light. And in the year 2021, at the dawn of a new decade, by the Statue of Liberty and that of Lincoln, democracy took the duel with darkly forces. The outcome, penned in poetry as victory, rests naked and new before the eyes of earth and the skies, forever and eternity, like the word it represents, democracy. That is it. That is the first poem after the storming of the US Capitol last year. The second piece revolves around January, the first month of the year, and although it's always received by accolades across the world, fireworks and so on and so forth, pomp and color, it is also the month that opens poverty and brokenness, because a lot of people outspend in December. And come the new year, then the pockets are always empty. The word for hunger in Kiswahili is njaa. The poet is entitled January of Njaa. Like the bold vulture of Ndoto Mountains, you sweep the skies with strong strokes, wings sailing the winds, eyes locked down on families. Families march below, eyeing February and March as relief destinations, fleeing you, O January. Kenya is a land of peace, but pieces of peace, even in many millions, fill not the bowels of Kenyans. So when you appeared in the sky like bold vultures of Ndoto Mountains, the sun scorched many below, the skies cried without tears, your cry tore salaries, and that is the nature of Njaa and January. Thank you very much. The last piece, which is the third poem, celebrates the tenacity of humans in the wake of the global pandemic. It's about COVID and the casualties thereof. 6 feet. Like the traffic lights, he helped others to navigate their trips of life. In amber, green, and red, he cautioned accordingly. In his little station of life, this 6 feet tall doctor guided the youth on how to drive their lives well, just as traffic cops guide drivers to do so too. Lately, he did so with a white mask over his white beard, using a 6 feet broad mahogany desk to measure social distance between him and his panic-stricken patients. Passing time in a pandemic 6 feet from the intimacy of their tribulations, little revelations of their own lives. Now behold, here lies the good doctor in a coffin 6 feet long. It fits well by measure of sight to the fresh hole in the womb of the earth, 6 feet by 5 feet by 4. Here we shall inter his fresh remains into the socket of a cemetery. Ours is the hope that this will ensure his bones and body rest, but his words and deeds remain as light eternal to the young who old will become with wisdom he so shared 6 feet across his desk. And to us who old are, ours is a better age that rests on his 6 years of counseling, a feat he fought to fit into the busy life of this center of learning. Hail and farewell, friend, I salute you with social distance, 6 feet apart, with my hands atop my heart. Hail and farewell.
Yeah.
Thank you, Tony.
Yes. Thank you very much, Bwana Makaha. We hail you, but we hope you are not bidding us farewell. Eh? Yeah. Yes. So thank you so much.
You're most welcome.
Okay, fantastic. But the person who is now most welcome is your fellow academic and poet who is looking very serious there. Ready for it, is Mr. He's even taken a huge energy drink from a flask. That's a true homogusi. Yes, so Christopher, it's my great pleasure, to welcome you, to this wonderful Poesia 21. Karibu. Please unmute.
Yeah, I've done it.
Okay, fantastic.
Yeah, you're able to get me now.
Yes, and we are ready.
Yeah, let me take this opportunity to thank each one of you who is on this platform. The sharing of poetry is very exciting and very interesting. And let me take this opportunity to thank the organizers of this event, and also for inviting me also to come over and read my poem and my poems as well. Thank you so much, Tony, and the rest of you. Let me start by the first poem. And this first poem, I'll do it in Ekegusi language first, and then I'll do it in English. In English, it is entitled as The Thing That Is Lacking About, and it's about coronavirus. Let me start off in Ekegusi. Yekeiga yatocheire, corona yatocheire, empewe kuna kugusa. Yekeiga yatocheire, corona yatocheire, empewe kuna kugusa. Empewe kuna kugusa baba. Empewe kuna kugusa baba. Empewe kuna kugusa. Ino murwari tabarwaire, morembe kuren koroime, echine chintoto chigoeta. Ino murwari tabarwaire, morembe kuren koroime, echine chintoto chigoeta. Echine chintoto chigoeta baba. Echine chintoto chigoeta baba. Echine chintoto chigoeta. Omoto kuwatia, neriberera rinyinge, dowasi mora boire. Omoto kuwatia, neriberera rinyinge, dowasi mora boire. Dowasi mora boire baba. Dowasi mora boire baba. Dowasi mora boire. Dowasi mora boire. Uraya, chingero bonyangerota. Yeah, thank you. Now let me read the poem in English. In English, it's titled as The Thing That Is Lacking About. What thing lacks about? It is the virus. What thing lacks about? It is the virus. Like the wind, it will blow over. Like a wind, it will blow over. Like a wind. The sick, sickening, take heart. It's one of those bad dreams that in the morning you forget. One of those bad dreams that in the morning you forget. The headache, fever, the sneezing will subside. Indeed will subside. True, no trace will remain. No trace will remain. Oraya, the chant of chants. Thank you. That is the end of that first poem. My next poem is called Through the Streets. Through the streets. And here it goes. Through the streets of Indiana, through the streets of Nevada, through the streets of Florida, through the streets of Alabama, let people break the knee. Let people break the knee and get the breath. Let people break the knee. Let people break the knee and gain their consciousness. Through the streets of New York, through the streets of Minneapolis, through the streets of Los Angeles, through the streets of Oklahoma, let people sing. Let people sing for freedom, justice, and equality. Let people sing. Let people sing for their rights, their lives, and their existence. Through the streets of New Jersey, through the streets of Washington, D.C., through the streets of Pennsylvania, through the streets of Kentucky, let people shout. Let people shout against Black men's lynching. Let people shout. Let people shout against racial injustices and oppression. Through the streets of Chicago, through the streets of California, through the streets of Michigan, through the streets of Arkansas, let blackness breathe. Let blackness breathe and rise above the knee. Let blackness breathe. Let blackness breathe and break the chains of hatred. Through the streets of Missouri, through the streets of Wisconsin, through the streets of Illinois, through the streets of Utah, let the voices rise. The voices of Amadou Diallo, Eric Garner, Michael Brown, Tamir Rice. Let the voices rise. Let the voices rise. The voices of Walter Scott, Freddie Gray, Botham Jean, Breonna Taylor. Let the voices rise. Let the voices rise. The voices of Philanthro Castile, Typhon Martin, Ahmaud Arbery. And now, let the voice rise. Let the voice rise. The voice of George Floyd. Thank you very much. That's the end of my reading. I say thank you very much.
Yes, and we also thank you very much, Christopher.
Yes.
I understood even what you are saying in Ekegusi, because you know you're a man from we are from a place called Kisi, native.
Sure.
Wise. Yes.
Yeah.
So and for taking us through a tour of cities of the United States and a few states, with your political BLM poem. Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you, my brother. Now, up next, I think the order said Kuhepa, but I can't see Kuhepa here. So we're going to mix this up a bit. And I'm going to invite his countryman, Kemogetsi Joseph Mola. Yeah, what a wonderful heart you have, my friend. Yeah. A cowboy, just don't shoot anyone outside some dusty pub.
It comes with age.
At 2:45, it's long past high noon. So it's nice to see you again. And I hope we meet again and drink Windox in Windhoek like we did a couple of years ago when Corona was a rumor in Wuhan.
Yeah. Yep. Okay, thank you for having me. Hi, everyone. They call me Mola. That's it. No formal introduction. I'm not a very formal person. But thank you for being part of this platform. Thank you for having me, for tolerating me. And I'm going to share a couple of poems. Yeah. For those who don't know, Namibia is somewhere southwest of Africa. Geographical location we were sometime, but now we're a country. Yeah? Today is our Independence Day, and so we're celebrating poetry as well as our independence. So it's a double-edged knife for me to deal with. Okay, my first poem. Let me just check what is the first one loaded here. I don't know what's loaded. Okay. Coming. My first poem is going to be This Law. It's part of my publication called The Scars on My Skin, Hope you can see it. It's online, so I'm not promoting myself, full stop. It's called this law, that's the other one. The law has got flaws, grown claws, made claws to shut doors. The law has got uniforms, guns and muscles to silence your heart and chill your mind. The law has got attitude, menace of hate, powers of a vulture to paralyze your freedom. The law has got bylaws, sharpened claws, amended claws to be what it wants. The law has got courts that will court your poverty into court prisons. The law has got vengeance, rigid legislations to sentence you to the end of life. The law has got interests to protect and keep, friends to buy and serve, agendas to push and impose. The law has got laws to rule over and maintain, keep under a watchful law and disregard humanity. That's my first poem. I hope I was clear. I can see the fingers going. The second poem is called Awaiting. We await our turn to standing like cattle, braving the last walk towards the guillotines, a purpose not known to kin and foe alike. We await our right to eat corridors of power, holding our name tags, remembering the promise, the oath we inherited with our first fearful cries. We await our mission with our fist up high and our armpits exposed to the grit and grit of the like-minded comrades, glancing at us like living statues. We await our fate in queues, long lines of economic suicide with paid up commitments and arrogant ignorance ready to be slaughtered. We await our entombment of forgotten cemeteries, archived in missing dunes, which once shielded our being from the engineers of ache and birth masters of elitism. I thank you.
Yeah, thank you so much, Mola. Yeah, that was very good. I don't know what you have against the law. Yeah, but poets are lawbreakers to a certain extent. Ah, good. I see Lyanna's just popped in. Looking a bit frazzled, but welcome. Yeah. So, yeah. So we'll now get a law-abiding poet. And I think, although we have an order here, you see, we know we Africans, people just rush in some, when they know it's their turn. There are those ones. Lyanna, I'm not talking about you. Just happy to see you. Yeah. Yes, you're actually next, but I'll give you time to catch your breath. You might have come from running through the Namibian desert, you don't know. So as your heartbeat settles down, I think I'll ask Timmy Tope, if you don't mind. Yes, the very colorful looking Timmy Tope. Last time she was in a car.
Good afternoon.
Yes.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Timmy Tope. Yeah, so please.
Pleasure being here.
Yes.
Thank you very much. Good afternoon, everyone.
Good afternoon. Yes, and introduce yourself.
My name is Timmy Tope. I know, and Timmy Tope means so much to be thankful for. So I'm grateful to be here. So I have 2 poems to present today. The first one is The Phoenix. As the phoenix rises from the ashes of the flames, I rise again in a beautiful blaze. I rise from the debris of past mistakes. On the wings of love, my heart will race, traversing the realms of grace and harmony. I awaken in joy from nights of sorrowing. Everything must become new for me. My gaze and vision focus still. My wings pruned, accustomed to heights. For this year I soar beyond the clouds. Hordes of darkness assail me in vain, for I rise full of vigor into celestial space, above the hate and pain and past grievances, into love with strength, exploiting opportunities. My phoenix leaves the old year behind. My bird joins the eagles in their flight. I wish you new paths and strength to fulfill. The radiant doors open for my wings. Thank you. My second poem has to do with the African woman. We just celebrated International Women's Day. So this is an ode to the African woman. Our lively warmth, our cold detachment, our will to survive and rise above pestilence, our African womanhood. Trampled upon for years, yet the continent survives because of our resilience. Our custody of traditions, our native organization, when the terrorists attack, like the slave hordes of the past, melt away in our fire, our blackened pots and water, consistently support the African woman's voice. No terrorist can withhold us. Local disturbances or wars as we move between borders through pestilence and wars. From the banks of the Nile and the plains of the north, the desert heat scorched us, our will never falters. Ode to the African woman, promised and never fulfilled, making the best in their situation, trodden forward still. Ode to the African woman, Mother Earth salutes your courage. We call for a new dawn. Our very wombs shall bring it forth. Thank you very much.
Yes. Am I muted? No, I'm unmuted. Okay. You can hear me? Yes. Thank you very much, Timmy Tope Aina, for your very good recitation of your original works. Yeah. And yeah, that was an absolute pleasure to listen to. And we are very grateful to have you with us this Sunday. Yeah. And we like the outfit, this very Nigerian outfits here. You do the continent proud. Yeah, very good. You dressed for the occasion. You dressed for it. Okay, great. Lyanna, I know you're still catching your breath, so don't worry, we'll just have you there a little bit longer, and we will go next to our patron. And I thought our patron is Ekaterina and Natalia and company, but I find out our patron is actually, oh, where has he gone? Oh, there he is. Patron Eneku. If he's there, patron, are you still with us? Yeah. These are the guests when in Zoom meetings they put and then they disappear a bit. like, office meetings. It's a good poetic trick. So, okay, so Patron is not there. So Lyanna, I guess it's yes, you're up next.
Okay, thank you so much.
And introduce yourself briefly.
All right, my name is Lyanna Hengari. I'm a writer, freelance writer, community counselor, and a poet. And the poems I'm going to recite, it's going to go in collaboration with Namibia celebrating its 31st independence anniversary today. So can I start the poems? Okay. So the first poem would be is called The Sense of Sense, and it's from my upcoming poetry book. Okay. I come from the sense of Africa. I am history in the present. I am magic. I am the current sound of my beginning. I am the fire they tried to put out from my grandmother. I am the backbone that gives strength to the new generation. I am the soil that builds a new nation. Yes, you buried the bones of my heritage long before I could stand. The laughter of my ghost of my past still fills me up. Every time I have to answer who I am reminded where I come from. Yet you try to forget the bodies buried under your guilt as you resurrect the souls that once gave you life. My existence is always and will always be a haunted house you are afraid to live in. No wonder you try to burn it down every chance you get. It tells you stories from your past. You are the main character in it. The night tales you wish to forget are the daughters you hear in the early days. How many eulogies have you written in the laws to cover my existence? How many women do you still try to break? Because the very same women you carried their weakness are still the ones that carry their weaknesses as bold in their backbones. Keep them straight and walked further than you imagined they could. Sang anthems from the generations that are still yet to come. Yes, they are singing the eulogies that you do not want to remember. I was born from a line of thick blood, from mountains unmoved and trees unshakable. I come from the east wind that blows north, east, south, west. At the very same time, those winds will keep on blowing. You will remember the names of the people and the heroes that are unsung. Saints are made from the very thing that you wish would not exist. Because I am an African saint, I am the African child. That is the sense of sense. And the other one is called Afrikaans, my mother tongue. So growing up with Afrikaans, they call it the language of the Boers. So yes, Afrikaans, my mother tongue. When they ask me what tribe I am, I stutter. I do not know exactly where to begin to tell them exactly who I am or what tribe I am. See, I'm just as confused about where I come from. I sometimes don't know who I am or where I really belong. When you are raised in a society of tribalism and remarks, women are made to degrade anyone who does not fit into boxes that you as society have tried to place us in. You do not want to place yourself into that box. They always ask me, what tribe are you? Because they cannot really clearly place me into any tribe. And if I answer them, they don't believe me. So I have given up believing who I need to be. I've grown up and so used to not knowing where I place myself, where to fit in to your so-called words and your kind of color you want me to be. My skin color is always a topic they used in any conversation that is confusing or any discussion about my mother tongue or the problems. You see, classification has become a thing of the present in tribalist and racist remarks. I tell them, I'm human. That has been my my recent answer. I am me. And there ain't enough of the tribalist folks. The answers I give, no. I'm so accustomed and too soon, I have to yet explain myself about my heritage and my mother tongue. Why does it matter? But somehow it does. Afrikaans, my mother tongue. They call it the language of the Boers. I call it my stolen identity. They call it the language of the invaders. I call it my lost identity. They say it's not an original language. I say it doesn't define my worth. Afrikaans, my mother tongue. They tell me to speak in the language of my father. But where do I start if that has been an alien ever since I can remember? When you are so stuck between who you are and who you ought to be, between who you need to be and where you can fit in. Try to unmask the identity of your roots. My bones, it's flesh. I am made of flesh. And you too need to realize the wind too blows the songs of my heritage, and whistles call on the names of the sun. My culture too is like a coin. It has two sides. I'm a descendant of black and white. I too am liberated as much as I'm caged, birthed from grounds that were blessed and cursed. And my soul has recognized the curse more than it ever felt blessed. Made out of sacrifices to a land that shed a lot of blood for its freedom. And part of the blood is in me that preaches hate. Made of two separate worlds, that is me. I can still hear the chariots, the war of inferiority and power. I too hear the songs of love and hate. That black is inferior and white is superior. I too hear those songs a lot, and I too question my heritage. Why did the white not just love their own kind? Why did the black submit to the white that loved them? Why did the love give birth to my identity? Why should the color division not have stayed above all the reason of love, hate, beauty, and everything that comes with it? No, questions I still can't answer because they cannot be between the white and black. Is there a great line between the two? Yes, I am black too. I too identify the German blood that runs in my veins. I too am too stuck up to be completely black. I too am a reminder that black cannot identify itself as German, especially my characteristics when I call myself black. So I am made from this land, yet I don't belong to the land. I am made from the sky, yet never felt in reach of the sky. So I swerved by, given to a land of people that do not fully accept me, but recognizes pieces of me. I am only love that has that tribalist and racism remarks in between. Maybe I could not be partially. What exactly? What do you want me to be? Exactly? Okay, my father is birthed from a world that should never exist. Yes, that of colonies and folks. Let's not forget about my mother. Again, created from a world that should not have been forged out of love. That's a world that is not easily recognized, a world that exists as a reminder of what you should and should not be, especially in a world of racist and tribalist remarks. Racism and tribalist folks everywhere where you go. So I try to tell us that it is not killing us softly, yet it is killing us softly. Birthed from a vein of conceit, ignorance, I'm birthed in a racial crisis where they call it confused. Yes, I call it magic, a thunderstorm, where I am reminded that I can be both. So I take my twisted little identity and I paint rainbows for myself. I try to sing songs to myself that come from way before me, those who laughed despite the skin of their color. Yes, I tell myself the tales they wrote. I am birthed from the sky and the earth in equal parts. I am going to pour down rain and cultivate my earth. I spring forth trees that will stand and grow, tall and tall until it reaches the skies and the heavens. And then you will remember my tribe does not make me. My heart feels the earth and my skin is as exotic as yours. That where I come from should not be a discussion that defines me. Where I come from and who I am is human, long before I was Lyanna or anything else. Where I come from is human. Where I'm going is human, and I still remain human with love and blood in it. My grandparents were human long before they were black or white, German or Afrikaans, Herero or tribalist, any other language you would want to classify it on. Yes, any other tribe that wants to classify you to make you feel superior and box anyone up. No, we are not that. We were human. Our identity does not make us. Our race and tribe does not make us because we are earth and Mother Earth lives within us. Thank you.
Wow, Lyanna, wow, that's very powerful poetry, very, very powerful. And it's your performance and your words have been an excellent example of, the raw power of poetry. Yeah. So thank you for that, for dropping that, those little atomic bombs of words on us. Yeah, very impressive, very impressive. And I hope you also have very many long, it was also like an ode.
Yes.
Yes, and one knows you're a good poet because one wants it to go on and on. So that's excellent. And yeah, very well done. Yeah.
Thank you.
Amandla. Yeah, I can see Timmy is also in the spirit. Yeah, so thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah. So after that amazing performance, I'm still looking for, the patron of the arts. That's what I'm calling him, the patron of the arts, Mr. Heneku, to give us something. That if he's there behind the screen. There you are, patron. Yes. Yeah. So you're very welcome.
Thank you very much, Tony. Thank you to the organizers. Hi, Poète Family. Je m'appelle Patron Heneku, je vis à Lomé. Je vais lire 3 poèmes. Le premier s'appelle Mes voisins à Lincoln. C'est un poème qui est témoin de ce que nous vivons actuellement. Cet élan vital de respirer qui nous est plus ou moins refusé parce que devenu synonyme de contagion, devenu synonyme de mort. Voilà. Donc, mes voisins à Lincoln, Nebraska. J'ai des voisins, Angle Nord 26e et Holdridge. La police est un arbre qui témoigne de cette proximité pour moi. Je me suis surpris d'être heureux de cette proximité au départ. Ai-je dit heureux? Je pense au meilleur des mondes peu possible. Désormais, à chaque fois que je passe sous cet arbre, je pense à I Can Breathe de Rick Garner et à comment ces mots s'opposent à mes rêves. Dans ce mois d'octobre, l'arbre de la police respire moins, on dirait. Ses feuilles vertes accueillantes ont changé de couleur. Elles ressemblent de plus en plus à ma peau. Quel destin de feuilles d'arbre. Ah, destin. En neige, un mois dans cette ville américaine vraisemblablement calme. Quelle couleur prendrait-il ici, dans cette rue paisible, pendant que dans les rues mécontentes de Lomé, depuis août, mes compatriotes respirent le piment des gaz lacrymogènes. Le temps qu'il fait afflige les arbres. L'homme afflige l'homme. De retour du campus un soir de fin d'octobre, j'ai marqué un arrêt devant l'arbre de la police. Ce soir, j'ai éprouvé une sympathie recrue pour cet arbre. Il a perdu beaucoup de ses feuilles. J'ai touché à son tronc. Ma main a tremblé. Les afflictions des arbres et nos afflictions. Quelques feuilles sont tombées encore. J'ai murmuré, You will breathe again, dear tree. Le second poème s'intitule Souffle d'autre cœur et c'est dédié à mon ami Cal. C'est un poème où le personnage écrit depuis le fond de la Méditerranée à sa destinée restée à la maison. Souffle d'autre cœur. Et en silence, le soupir naît. Lourd, long, profond. Et le souffle prend corps couvé dans la chaleur au fond du soupir. Et le cœur s'est fait pierre, rubis, et a poussé le souffle hors de ce lieu dans un rythme tendu, systole, systole, silence. Une musique jaillit du fond du soupir, vive, puissante, jazz, et emplit ce monde qui s'accroche à la vie d'une lueur rouge. Elle succède à l'obscurité par intermittence. Et cette musique emplit la pierre qui se fait cœur saphir et porte le souffle dans un rythme aspiré diastole jazz, coco jazz, coco choco jazz truffé de raisin. Les flop des flots me rejoignent dans ce monde de rêve. Soudain, la fraîcheur des eaux m'engloutit et je frissonne de froid emporté dans mes souvenirs d'une nouvelle vie embusquée dans mes poings. Je revois à présent l'éclat, quoique lointain, de ton sourire, le charme de tes yeux, et mon cœur se fait de sang et de soupirs, de doutes et de sourires, entraîné dans ce rythme systole, systole, jazz, diastole, systole, jazz aux arômes de la piedra. Je pars, mon amour, ma bien-aimée, une vie arrachée à un sourire, le cœur se fait pierre et garde le soupir dans son cœur le long des côtes de Lampedusa. L'absence de toi avec. Et mon dernier poème, qui s'intitule Roselyne, est simplement un poème d'amour. The last poem is a love poem. Ça commence par cette citation de Mahmoud Darwish. Chaque fois qu'une femme s'en va au soir vers son secret, elle trouve un poète marchand dans ses obsessions. Roselyne, tu m'as dit que tu ne portes pas d'amour pour les roses, juste pour ce qu'elles sont. Je veux donc de cette attitude rose parvenir à me vider et à mettre en place ce qui, dans les autres fleurs, chante le parterre austère qui est in corde mio, le ciel étant une trop grande illusion pour l'amour des hommes que je porte en souvenir dans les mèches tressées fines comme des brindilles de pluie sur la tête. Ce soir-là, lorsque la langue de Bay Beach a porté la lagune en bandoulière et que nous nous mirions dans son éclat que reflétaient mes ongles manucurés pour cet effet, j'étais comblé. Tu l'aurais ressenti quelque part entre mon millième sourire et le vent calme qui passait par là. Aujourd'hui, lorsqu'en caressant les unes après les autres, les mèches de mes cheveux tressés en fin ruisseau, comme d'insignifiants souvenirs, je jette la tête en arrière dans ce geste fier né de cette rème et te regarde comme ça, les yeux mi-clos, le visage tout fait d'appel. Pourquoi me demandes-tu la permission de m'embrasser? Mes lèvres sont enceintes depuis 7 ans de ce désir qui n'entend qu'à naître dans la chair des tiennes. 7 années que je m'ensoleille de ce que je vois à l'intérieur de toi et qui fonde comme une virgule le sens de ce qui me comble. Je suis plus que rose et mes ongles ne sont pas épines, car doux comme la chair de mon regard. Tu n'es pas l'un des souvenirs que je conjugue parfois de mes doigts décisifs, car vois-tu, j'embusquais derrière ton silence en fait, n'ayant pu trouver la force de m'en aller. Ne fais pas trop attention à moi comme rose. J'aime à croire que tu admires le prolongement de mon nom, Lynn, comme une toile de lin qui se tisse entre l'espace de nos yeux lorsque ces derniers se toisent de très près et quand ton souffle m'effleure la peau des joues, tel un doux vent dans les filaos. Doucement, mes lèvres moites découvrent les tiennes et ma langue se tatoue tiède de glucose, cavalcade entre elles. Je suis l'hymne, langage de ces lignes que tu fais. Je suis l'hymne, souffle qu'habite ces nus mots. Laisse ta langue connaître les claviers de mes saintes textures arrogantes, que tes doigts disent les frissons de chaque parcelle de ma peau, qu'ils s'adoucissent dans mes cheveux comme dans un fleuve et qu'ils portent le chant de ton corps à ma chair d'escargot. Exauce-moi comme une pierre ce soir, je t'en conjure. Exauce-moi comme une prière ce soir, je t'en conjure. Thank you very much, Tommy.
Yes, yes, thank you very much, Patron. I'll take Zifa Gali when you said very beautiful poems. I can't wait to read them on the archive in translation, but your delivery has been excellent.
Thank you very much for curating the event. Hi to everybody.
Oh, fantastic. Yeah. Yeah. Thank you for gracing it, with your beautiful work. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. So up next, still in my sort of order of what's available on the menu. Sometimes you go somewhere and you want something off the menu. Have you ever been to those restaurants where they keep telling you, we don't have that one, we don't have that one, we don't have that one, until you're like, okay, take away the menu, what do you have? So, so what? Yeah.
Sometimes, Tony, when you go to these restaurants, sometimes what is off the menu becomes more interesting than what is on the menu.
Today, patron, I'm very happy that you have patronized this restaurant and that you have given us what's on your menu. Yeah,
thank you.
Yeah. We have enjoyed that one. So
thank you so much.
Yeah. Yeah, that's very poetic. Yeah. Okay, so up next, I think we'll put on. I think we'll have Akinyi. If Akinyi is here, yes. Well, great to see you. Yes,
nice to see you too.
After such a long time. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes. And thank you. So you introduce yourself. Yes.
Okay.
Yes. At least we are representing the region so far. I'm happy about that. We should be having some Burundians here, for example.
Yeah, that would be great.
Yes.
Seems like we're a few of us.
No, we are not few actually. I've seen so far we are 11 out of like 18 so far.
Okay. Okay,
yes.
Great.
And
okay.
From the African continent, so we are not doing too badly. Yes.
Okay. So I guess I will perform now. I had told my people to put a reminder
wow,
for the time slot. So so too bad. Yeah.
Yes.
That's okay.
Okay. You will tell your people that you have done your thing and blown us away. We are ready to be blown away by you, Akinyi.
Yes. Fantastic.
Yes. And
great.
Fantastic.
All right. My name is Akinyi Oloch, and I am a performing artist. I act, sing, and dance, and I also MC an open mic.
Yes, sorry, Akinyi.
Yeah.
Sorry. Oh my goodness. Yeah. Now I've seen knees here.
Okay.
Yes. So consider that a trailer.
Oh, fantastic. Yeah. Okay.
Knee was very specific. So at least people have gotten a trailer of you. And yes, there is knee. And so he's also a co-curator. So I'll invite him to speak because, he's the man. Yes.
Yes, please. Yeah. That's all right.
Yes,
I shall hold.
You are a trailer. Wonderful things I've trailered. Yes.
Hi, everyone.
Wonderful. So wonderful to finally see you.
And it's good to have you in the house and holding the fort. I know I haven't been able to be very present in this global campaign to make sure that everybody knows about the brilliance of the poets that you've put together.
But you've done a great, wonderful job in putting it together. I particularly like your spreadsheets.
I'm good with spreadsheets. Yes.
Yeah, wonderful. Yeah.
It's because I don't have a lot of time, so everything goes in a spreadsheet.
Oh, fantastic.
And then everybody can manage themselves, sort of.
Yeah. Without you, I'm sure we'd have been quite lost. Yeah.
That is a huge compliment. Thank you. So yeah, wonderful to be here. I hope that the broadcast is going well. You're 1 hour in, and it seems like everybody's kind of been following the script. I'm representing West Africa, Ghana specifically, near Ekwe Parks, and I am going to be reading 3 poems. So I will, I guess, take it away. The first poem is called Variables. Asked about heartbreak, X might drop a matchstick and raise a finger to point at a delivery van rolling heavily past a home. Let's say it's blue as a flame's heart, and it stops in front of a brick building where, on the 3rd floor, a boy, Y, is framed in his window perch by the yellow lamplight beyond him. Y has headphones like planets over his ears and is bent over a sheet of paper, shading blackness into faces. The window next to his is an animation. 2 adult figures gesturing, their mouths black holes. Because of the galaxy he carries, the window boy Y will not hear his parents' battle. But high above the van's blue, a beat is breaking. X has not said a word, wary gaze focused outside. The match X dropped will grow into a fire X won't notice but for its heat, won't recognize, for who would call a window a mirror? Has no one ever told you that heartbreak is always elsewhere? What is Y in a world of X's? So that's the first poem. I am now reading a poem called The Makings of You, which is named after a wonderful song by Curtis Mayfield. So if you're out there in the world and you haven't heard Curtis Mayfield before, go and Google him and listen to the man. He's an amazing songwriter. And so the poem is prefaced by a line from the song, almost impossible to do, describing the makings of you. You will tell no one. Raise the forkful of sauteed potato to your lips and close your eyes. How saving that mouthful of electric heat and some farmer's zealous labor, followed by 2 hours reading Neruda and Leon Lee, was your only way of remembering that life's sack carries pleasure as well as pain. At that dinner next week, you will tell nothing of how vacuous you felt, nor will you mention the time when, tortured by your girlfriend's inability to trust you, you drank cheap whiskey and clawed your walls while singing along to Curtis Mayfield's The Makings of You, as though the song's lush beauty would save you from depression. No, you will tell jokes and smile and make predictably witty and charming comments. You will tell no one of the day when, as an ashy-kneed 11-year-old boy in boarding school, you surreptitiously sat on the concrete steps of your classroom block to pick up a groundnut you had spotted earlier, cleaned it against your brown shorts, and slipped it in your mouth where you let it sit for an instant before you chewed it for 6 slow minutes so you could fool your own stomach into thinking that life was better than it was. All these things that make you the man that you are, you tuck beneath your dark skin and never share. So nobody really knows you, although most people say they like you because of your enigmatic smile. That's a second poem. Thank you very much, people. And this is the last one, after which I will stay to listen to a few poets, but personally I will be withdrawn into the background, so Tony will carry you along in this journey. And it's nice that he has a globe behind him so he can point to where people are coming from. Interpretation. You can't have heard the one about the butcher who became a classical conductor. It is said he coaxed blood from warm flesh, the same way he makes strings whine and horns mimic a bull's lament in allegro. His feeling for time signatures as true and unshifting as an Accra sunset. I always put some adverts for Ghana in my poems, so Accra sunsets, those of you who are listening, just go. His feeling for time signatures as true and unshifting as an Accra sunset. You can set a seed's germination to pale cleft-shaped root shoot by his baton, his restless foot, that shapes his body forms as he conjures sound and silence. Audiences flock to see him lead virtuosos from the highest high to the deep. He gives new life to the Mendelssohn woman, Fanny, buries old notions of Beethoven and Rachmaninoff. But as with all music, interpretation varies, and the historic question hovers always in the air like a trenchant treble in an echo chamber of wonder. Was he a butcher of livestock or of men? Was his past work in an abattoir or a boardroom? Did any of his victims lean their heads into the curve of a melody, sun striking one ear, tuned for the song's end? Thank you very much. Happy World Poetry Day, people.
Wow. That's the sound of stunned silence. Now I see Ni, where they call you the Grand Poetic Master of Accra, and a few other hemispheres when you venture there. Yeah, that was absolutely masterful. Just absolutely wonderful. And what a mastery you have with words and with evocation. I'm sure everybody has enjoyed that tremendously. Yeah, yeah. You're like the Curtis May of poetry. That's the highest compliment I can pay you right now. Yeah, you are our continental Curtis May of poetry. Yeah. So thank you. Asante sana, as we say in Kenya. Thank you so much. Okay. Yeah, so Akinyi, you gave us a trailer, but we are here now with our popcorn. We have shuffled past a few knees, no pun intended, to get onto our seats. Yeah, our cars are parked outside in the parking lot, and we are ready for you. That is, it's a driving. So, karibu.
Great. Thanks, Tony. My name is Akinyi, and I'm so grateful to be here. Very, very excited to share my work with you, to share my poetry. And all right, so the first poem I'm going to read is called I Missed Decorating Myself. As you can see, I like to decorate myself. Okay. I missed decorating myself. I was tired of paying rent and lending money. I wanted to be given money, glammed up, picked up, loved. No insecurities, just intricate delicacies and fantasies of could-be's. I think he likes me. I miss decorating myself. Hey, Yawa, what hairstyle is next? Spring twists or flat twists? Box braids or lush wigs, a bindi for blankets. I missed decorating myself like a bird, my beak matching my claws. I too am allowed to look like a peacock, flaunt my feathers and exaggerate my features, swoop you to the nest of my breast on my chest. Let me not say the rest. I miss decorating myself. One long earring, another one short, color blocking, Ankara, Indo, Western, texture, pattern, color, loud and soft, bold and subtle. I missed decorating myself. Without being told, I'm trying to look like a white Caucasian woman. Do they own straight, blonde? Like, do we own braids, afros? Oh, culture appropriation. What is that? I just want to decorate myself. Wigs came from my ancestors in Egypt. The art of decorating thyself, oh, they knew it. They bathed in milk and honey and quenched their coochie. Yoni steaming. I miss decorating myself. Looking for things to decorate myself with and allowing others to decorate me. Flowers in my hair, tuck in, line the lips, snatch the waist, feel like a goddess, so ready to possess. Oh, How I miss decorating myself. Thank you. Great. So the next piece is called Shuffling and Smiling, right? Shuffling and smiling, shuffling and smiling, shuffling and smiling, shuffling. I fell in love with a soldier. We had just won the war. Fela Kuti playing in the bar. You could hear the veterans from afar, shuffling and smiling. A motto that took them through the bushes, the bullets, the bombs, blowing babies and their moms, shuffling and smiling. I fell in love with a soldier. We had just won the war. Badges of honor, salutes and yes sirs, nods and looks. Just checking if you're in line, because we ain't got time to wine and dine and pretend we're fine with PTSD down our spine, but we do it anyway. Shuffling and smiling. I fell in love with a soldier. We had just won the war, and at home he fingers me like he intentionally pulled the wrong wire, and boom, I explode to the moon from here to Timbuktu, and his face is splattered. Oh, but he's a soldier. He goes back to battle, lifts his head and asks Nyako, when can I bring cattle? As I scream, Mulungu, Asif, Yasae, King. Tomorrow, I fell in love with a soldier. We had just won the war. A promotion as a gift, the wedding so swift, an armed aisle, and in the middle, a lady from the Nile whose womb was fertile, and she was with child. His mom whispered, you are the wife of a general now, shuffling and smiling. He rushes out on our honeymoon night, 3 a.m. Yes, sir, duty called, 30 thrusts with grips and grunts. I don't know if he'll come. Back home, I fell in love with a soldier. We had just won the war. He denotes me like a bomb. He knows every wire. He takes time to study me in case I fire. And I tell him I'm done, or pull a Delilah and retreat my vagina. So give me some concealer for the bruises. Yeah, conceal her. She's a nuisance. Screaming revolutionary that this system is slavery plagued with mediocrity and double standards, unchecked egos and abusive commanders, but we're whining and dining and suffering and smiling. I fell in love with a soldier. We were about to lose the war. Every day I fell on my knees, begging God, please, no knocks on my door. My baby is kicking more and more, and I don't know what to do. Therapy and this baby, oh, talk about bravery. I sit alone on the couch waiting for my soldier to come home, waiting for my water to break, waiting to go into war, singing, suffering and smiling, suffering and smiling, suffering and smiling, suffering. Thank you.
Wow. Akinyi, you made Shamata smile without suffering as you are singing. I've just been singing, smiling and smiling. Yes, that was so good. I'm very, very happy that you actually brought a performance to Zoom. This medium does limit us to, our little boxes, but you brought some, you brought some stagecraft. Yeah,
I'm glad I have. Great, so, I enjoyed it. Yeah.
Yes, and I'm sure we'll do this live in the time after we have stopped suffering from Corona.
We'll be smiling.
We'll be smiling after we take the Russian vaccine called Sputnik. Yes. So
Yeah.
So thank you very much. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Tony.
Yeah,
Thank you, everyone.
Very,
Great.
very nice. You can see Shamata. He's there. He's very, yes, jazzed. Yeah. Yes, Shamata, you can compliment. You have a little time. You can give your compliments in person.
Yeah, thoroughly enjoyed it, man. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Okay. Great. So next we have got a, where is he? Where's the deep? Oh, I can see his name just under Shamata on my screen. We have the man I call the new emperor of poetry, Adipo Sidang. I call him the new emperor of poetry because, you know, I'm sure all of you, Ni and company, often get sometimes some doggerel and you're told, would you write a foreword or, you know, look at my poems, and often they're disappointing. But Adipo told me you are an old king of Kenyan poetry, but then I'm very young. I don't know why he called me the old king, but I did see his first poetry manuscript, and it was just the sort of thing you want to get, you dream of getting. It was so, so good. Parliament of Alls. So I told him, then the king is dead, and long live the new emperor. So that's why I call him that. So new Emperor Sidang, welcome.
Thank you, Tony. Thank you very much. That's really, I have to match it. Yes, my name is Adipo. Tony, I believe that you're asking me to do my performance, right? Oh, great. Yeah, my name is Adipo Sidang. I'm a Kenyan poet. I write other things as well, because a writer is always a writer. And my first collection of poems is titled Parliament of Owls, published by Goethe Institute and Contact Zones, Nairobi, 2016. And the poem that I want to perform is titled These Works of Mine. And I wrote, it's the prologue to my collections, and for some reason it's the last poem I wrote because the people I interacted with asked me what Parliament of Owls was really about and what inspired me to write these works. So I decided to write a prologue to my poetry, and I also call it a sales pitch, sort of. If you want to buy the book, you judge it by the prologue, not by the cover. And you'll be able to get it on Amazon. If you're in Kenya, you can get it in our local bookstores, Prestige, the University of Nairobi bookstore, and the rest. And also, of course, from myself personally. So I'll perform, I'll do a performance of these works of mine. I hope you enjoy. These works of mine. And Tony, I hope I'm loud enough. These works of mine. Loud enough? Great. These works of mine. These works were mined. These works were mined from echoes of songs. These works drained my pen to nourish my paper. They were curtains of thoughts parted each day to reveal a wild area known to my eye. These works were exhumed from acres of souls under. They were mined from dry skies to feed growing weeds in a bed of sleeping flowers sloping to red evening suns. These works were mined from echoes of songs, from acres of souls in cemeteries between the trees. These poems were written in different seasons for various reasons, in moments of monumental momentum, in times of tumult and turmoil within, in times of torture in psychological jails, in times of mental triumph, and in times of euphoria. These works were mined from echoes of songs, from echoes of souls in cemeteries between the trees. These poems were begotten when battles bled and weathers withered, when moons mourned and skies scurried. They were written when the persona accused the poet of eavesdropping. These poems were written when an ostrich plume plummeted and a block broke into pieces, painfully falling in love. They were written when a wench quenched her thirst with waters wasted. These poems were engraved on this wood by some finger unknown, yet they were etched in pain by the finger of my pen. These poems were mine from echoes of songs, from echoes of souls in cemeteries between the trees. Some of these poems were begotten by mere glance of the roses, for that was the time they were conceived. Some were written when the politician polluted the polling station. Some were mere waste of time, for no one knows them today. Of these verses are those that were sheer imagination, but some are real, for they sprouted from the semen of reality. Some were written in dreamland, some sad by nightmares and raised by daydreams like an old child. Some of these poems struggled a show off the mind of my psychedelic pen. Some docked midstream and still became poems, and some fluently flowed following the ink of my thoughts towing. These works were mine from echoes of songs, from echoes of souls in cemeteries between the trees. These poems seeped through lulling lips of my forefathers, only discovered after a literary post-mortem. Of these verses are those that were leaked from buried diaries of the dead in groves. Some were written when the poet flew to poetry paradise under security tide. Some are of origin unknown. No one knows who ever wrote them and why. Yet these poems were constructed like empirical empires, simply to reincarnate expiring experiences. These poems were mine from echoes of songs, from echoes of souls in cemeteries between the trees. Some of these poems were written to control tears flooding my beard, some to console my bearded soul. And some were written when the gods went on strike and mean men mimicked their sacred protests. Some were massive missives to women whose names I ceased to remember. Some of these poems were written when men went nude in the mini outskirts of the prostitutes' street, when in midnight clashes, whores went wars at the sound of the coin. These poems were written when a parliament of owls went hooting and looting, piggling and puggling, wiggling and woogling, twerking on twigs and teasing bees on small trees and big trees, on tall trees and fig trees. These poems were written in the time of Lobengula. They were the discoveries of Vasco da Gama. These poems are the forgotten elements of Elementaita. They were the leftover of the reign of Samoei, the untold tales of Simbinyaima, drum beats of Ramogi warriors, war cries of the Mau Mau, pounding heartbeats of the Kinjeketile. These were the billowing tides of the Maji Maji. These poems were created by serenading birds, celebrating the fall of the dictator and the rise of another blue-blooded beast. These poems were composed 33 centuries ago when I, the poet, took a taxi to Poetry Galaxy to discover verse, reality, and music, to discover us in this universe, to discover me, nay, to discover you are these works of mine. Thank you. Yes, Tony, thank you. Thank you, everyone.
Yes. Okay, thank you very much, Adipo. But I believe you have another poem.
No, you asked me to do one performance.
Oh, one powerful performance. That summarizes.
Yeah, but I could. Yeah, I think that's okay. Unless you want me to read.
Yes, because yeah, you can read, because I think everyone gets two.
Okay.
Apple or the cherry. Yeah. So.
Okay, I'm just struggling to see what to read. Wow.
Yes. Okay, and a shorter piece.
Yes.
Yes, like something that fits in within 3 minutes.
Oh, great. Okay. So
I'll read J. Oh. Okay.
Oh, I could do J. Okay, fine. I know. I could do J. Let me get the number.
Okay.
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 It's It's I met Jay the stranger, looking for it. Okay. Yeah, that's page 268. Okay, so this is really a silly poem, and please, it does not reflect my character in any way. And I've got more serious poems in this collection. So, I mean, it's a collection of 286 pages. So that's quite some collection, some number of poems that read. But I'll pick this because the old king has asked me to, and I'm loyal to the king. Yeah, so the poem is titled Jay the Stranger. Jay is the stranger familiar in my anger. Jay beguiles, Jay betrays. Jay is the Iscariot. Jay is Judas fighting Jesus. Jay came in my life to guide my soul in the right path. I remember Jay the Baptist, and I saw River Jay. I once paraded Jesus, John, and Jordan. Who among them could be Jay? Jay took my mind to downtown streets. Jay received me in Sabrina Joy. Sabrina Joy is a downtown, what do you call it, brothel or something of that sort. So Jay took my mind downtown to downtown streets. Jay received me in Sabrina Joy for a session with a hound of whores. Then I was in court pleading guilty. I shed tears to Jay the judge to have mercy on me. I begged for justice without justification, but Jay the judge jailed me. In my jail cell, I mused over Jay the jovial one. Jay was the bird that sang songs to jailbirds. I thought of J-Lo and Lady J, Jay-Z and Ray J. Then I felt like dancing hip-hop. I hopped like a hippo to Uko Flani's song of Jambazi. That is how Jay taught me to dance hip-hop. For in hip-hop, people hop like hippos. Jay still was a stranger in my world. After hopping with the hippos, I prayed to Jay Rastafari. I was reggae dancing in Jamaica. But could Jay be Jehovah? I wished to be a witness, but I never wished to disappear. Like the witnesses, the Kenyan witnesses who disappeared in ICC. Jay perhaps is Jerusalem, or the Jews themselves. Before I knew it, Jay broke into my heart and held me hostage. Jay was bones of a lioness in love. Jay was the jewel of my life, the one I never knew. Jay was Jedida, Jessica, Juliet, Judith, Jacinta, Joyce, Joy, Jemima, Jacqueline, Jennifer. Jay was Jenny Walker, intoxicating me with love. Jay was juicy like Jahera, a woman of love. She was Jaber, the beautiful one. Yet, Jay cannot be a stranger to you. For Jay is just but the 10th letter of the alphabet. That's it.
Yeah. Adipo, we are not going to let you disown. I don't know if you have seen Timmy Tope laughing there with those laughing emojis. So I just wanted to show the range of your talent. Like a man who can drink Johnny Walker and still drink juice. So
Jenny Walker.
And
Jenny Walker.
Yes. So that's a very good mix that shows your spectrum.
If Timmy Tope doesn't mind, Tony, we can change her name from Timmy Tope to Jenny Tope. Sneaking Jay. So.
Oh, that's very good.
Thank you.
Okay, very, very funny. Thank you. Yeah. And like Jay, I think you are the 10th poet, if my counting is correct. And like the 10th letter of the alphabet. So now next, you're actually the 11th. Yes. Next, we are going to have that gentleman, Samatar Elmi. You are up next. Please give an introduction of yourself and feel free not to be modest. Yeah, some of us are curious just to know exactly who you are.
Thank you very much.
So, welcome.
I'm equally curious to know and get to know all the wonderful poets reading today, and thank you for this opportunity. My name is Samatar Ilmi, and I've recently published my first pamphlet, Portrait of Colossus, with Flip Tie in the UK. I'm a British Somali from Somaliland, which is where I currently am calling from. And my poetry is interested in migration, diaspora, identity, dislocation, racism, and home, wherever and whatever that may be as a concept. And I've prepared a poem, which I'm very grateful to read to you all, which is called My Mother is in a Different Language, which is about the intergenerational communication and understanding gaps between first and second, or second and third generation diaspora communities living in the West, and just some of the challenges we face and some of the pitfalls that, you know, particularly the younger generation end up falling into, really. So yeah, I'll crack on with that, and thank you very much. Is everything, am I loud enough? Is everything okay? Yeah, cool. Thank you. Your mother is in a different language. It didn't matter when she took her oath of burden, placenta, and breast milk, her promise of patience and insomnia that she clung to for 7,000 nights of drifting in and out of speechlessness. No one saw the nurse sever the umbilical cord, your first and last line of unbroken communication tossed into a medical waste bin. The doctor muttering faint instructions in English for the nurse to rock you asleep with lullabies your mother couldn't understand. No one thought it odd that mother and son should bring a translator to parents' evening to bridge between their broken tongues, the swirling cacophony of "Warmuhuleyahi" and "What's she on about?" making it easier to just kiss her forehead in silence. How did you get here? 15 years of false starts sat together in a courtroom, an unbridgeable gulf. Your mother shaking, shaping words like a prayer, except that hoyo, hoyo, mahad samese isn't a prayer. It's a question you can't answer in a language she understands. Thank you very much.
Wow, Samata, yeah, that's wonderful. I can see you can see your, I don't know if you can see your applause. You're getting some love from Timmy Tope. I especially enjoyed it, even when you do that, you know, with the Somali sort of little language links. Yeah, it becomes even more, you know, poetic. Yeah, and yeah, wonderful. I was wondering, did you have another piece?
I only prepared the one piece, to be honest. So
Okay.
I'm happy to leave it there. Yeah.
Okay. It's like in Kenya, we're having curfew right now because of the COVID. So like the pubs close very early. It
Sure.
feels a bit like that. Like just when we have gotten into the drink, they're like, no man, you know, it's time to go home. Yeah. Yeah. I really would have liked to listen to yet another piece, but that's us just being greedy.
No, thank you. I appreciate it. But they haven't prepared the translation, so I'll pass the baton.
No, thank you so much. Thank you, my brother. Asante sana. Yeah. Okay. It almost feels alphabetical, but it's not, because from Samata we are going to Saniamu. So it's from Sam to San. Yeah. And on my screen, she's just south of you. So San Ngewa, yes, I think you're the youngest person here. Yeah, you are the future of poetry. So welcome, and take us with you.
Right. So I can start by introducing myself. My name is Sanya Mungewa. I am the youngest performer in this region, I presume, and I write a lot to do with sentimentalism and emotions, feelings, and trying to find individualism, especially in a generation that kind of embraces that. And I really hope that my writing kind of spans out and I get to reach a larger audience with everything I do. So I'm going to read two pieces. The first one is called Love, and I've performed it twice. Yeah, I performed it twice, and I'm reading it for the first time on a bigger platform. I believe in a lot of things. I believe in a force that makes the wind blow and one that aligns the stars. I believe that time is a construct of our imaginations, and I also believe in the existence of the extraterrestrial and the absence of choice. I believe that the world is a simulation, and sometimes when it glitches, I make myself believe in more things like love, and that to love, I must be loved. This love, this drunken semaphore, that's love, this exhausted feeling, this grand gesture, this grand obsession that is love. I feel it when I hear your name and when I stare into the windows of your soul, or when I trace the pattern of your skin or listen to the rhythm of your voice as it speaks to tell me whatever it is that it tells me, or secrets. I feel it with the imagination of your beating heart, or a dream of you and me, or a fantasy of your hand holding mine. I also feel it with your absence, with my blindness and with your refrain and with the silence, with my forgetfulness, with the whispers of the wind because it brings back our memories. I feel it with my fears because it reminds me that you don't believe in terror. Sometimes, however, I can't feel it when you're near because I'm taking you for granted and I imagine you'll always be there. Sometimes I can't feel it when you talk to me or when you look at me or when you touch me because it's routine and I don't appreciate that. There's some days I fall more in love than the previous, and there's some days I fall completely out of it. My greatest worry isn't that I'll stop, but that I never really started. And worry is what drives me. I worry that I'll fall out and you'll beat me to it and fall out of love with me. And I worry grandly that soon that all that'll be left is your memory in my mind, your taste on my tongue, your vision in my imagination, your outline in my sight, and worst of all, your scent on my clothes. And I'll go back to telling strangers nothing about my past because they don't need to know and I don't want to remember. And it will be like love never existed. Thank you. So I have another one. It's called Quivers, and the very first time I put it out was 2019 in June, and it got published, and it's really short but really powerful. So I'll begin it. Poetry, it makes me quiver, but prose and rhyme, it makes me shiver. I'd like to tell you the story of this desperate cry for peace, but I'm afraid you'll feel unsteady and you'll fall to your knees. How many times can a heart break? Can an innocent man burn at the stake? And the tears, they flow in plenty because it's all take and take. This is meant to build us, not make us fall. And it's a shame that's entertaining how they campaign for this all. If you listen clearly, you'll hear the whispers from the forest and they scream in silence, but the trees there, they store it. Silence is such a loud sound, especially when the words are wise, but let's not be blinded by what's covering our eyes. Thank you.
Yes, thank you very much, Sunny, for your performance. And yeah, that's brave of you because we have some very seasoned, hardcores here. Somebody like, I think Togara has been around since independence. He's a very good poet too. So yeah, I think the future is sort of safe. Yeah. Thank you so much. I can see Kuhepa joined us. So Kuhepa, you are a very mysterious man, but here you are. And but you are not yet up next. We let you sort of settle down, although that big smile tells me you are, you know, you're just trigger happy with the words. But up next, we're going to have Timba Bema. Yeah. Buana Timba Bema.
Hello?
Good. Yes, yes. Yes, Timba.
Yes.
Yeah, fantastic.
Yeah.
Yeah. Welcome, introduce yourself. And
yes, thank you very
much. Take it away.
Okay. So my name is Timba Bema. I'm from Cameroon, and it's a pleasure for me to join with all African poets that I'm just discovering, because I never knew about you, and I just hope that it's the first but not the last time. So I'm a multi-awarded poet, so I will not really let's say give all the award that I received, because it's something that I really don't like to do. And I can say that for me, I think that a poet is someone who is solitary, so you live by your own side, but in the same time also you think of the others. So you are also, let's say, solidary. So you are solitary and solidary. So you think also of the others, and you consider yourself as part of humanity, even if, of course, for most of your time you are alone, because you have to write and you have to think about several things relating your writing. So I will read or interpret it, because I prefer the term interpreted. 2 poems. So name The Forgotten in French. So in French it is named L'Oublié, and in English I just translated it as The Forgotten. Okay, so I will go on. Baua pata padinda paia yada yada baua da ina tapata dunda paia ye uara tata dunda taia tata du parida due aia tapata dunda due. L'oublié. L'innocence est un labyrinthe aux murs blancs. Au cours des éléphants sans défense, poursuivis par des soldats de porcelaine et d'étain. Enfance. L'innocence est une larme souterraine qui se pleure la nuit à l'approche des songes et s'évapore au frémissement liminal du jour. Enfance. Tes oreilles sont grandes ouvertes au murmure des astres que transportent les vents dans leur circulation ininterrompue entre l'instant où surgit la matière et celui où on est absorbé par le bruit. Enfance, ta bouche édentée est une nasse juchée sur la branche d'un arbre par un jour gris, triste et gris, pour recueillir la poussière étincelante des étoiles mortes d'épuisement dans un passé sans commencement ni fin. Enfance, à présent éparpillée aux postes frontières de la mémoire, dépecée par les magiciens, ceux qui transforment le verbe en or. Où est donc mon oublié? Cette infime part de moi dérive dans l'océan sombre du temps. Ce signe que j'ai longtemps pressenti dans le regard mystérieux des chats, ainsi que dans l'ivresse des vieilles femmes. Enfance. Où est donc mon oublié? Où es-tu, mon oublié? Se cache-t-elle dans cet épouvantail qui effraie les hirondelles, sous la toiture rouillée de cette maison jaune, ou au fond de ce puits, dans l'arrière-cour, dont on dit que la nuit, son eau se change en sang, le sang des trois que les maquettes luisantes ont fait couler. Enfance. L'innocence est une larme souterraine qui se pleure la nuit à l'approche des songes et s'évapore au frémissement liminal du jour. Enfance, l'innocence est un labyrinthe au mur blanc, au cours des éléphants sans défense, poursuivis par des soldats de porcelaine et d'étain. Ezele sote ngenika misia mi marane wa otete nandiba ezele sote monika ye nandutu nye wa mulema e ambembe ongele bawedi ongele osijele po musia muwe Aiango pata dinga maiango pata ninga maninga 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 ko pata ninga miye de l'enfance. Dans tes mains doucereuses, je cherche mon oublié qui se cache dans la jungle équatoriale, dans la forêt de bocage, dans le désert aride, dans la steppe hostile, dans la cordillère des Andes, dans les routes de Samarcande, dans les océans, dans les mers, dans les fleuves, dans les rivières, dans les ruisseaux, dans les lacs désormais enterrés. Le livre gris ouvert sur la table ouverte invite le doigt pensif à le tourner, page après page. Vers rivage de l'enfance, dans tes mains doucereuses, je cherche mon oublié, comme on cherche le courageux parmi ces hommes indolents, parmi ces marchands ambulants, parmi ces yeux innocents, où se devine à peine le rire de l'enfant. Dans la cour de récréation, sous la majesté des arbres à gomme et l'odeur piquante des latrines, le sable brun portant encore les traces des palmes, le jour consomme ses entrailles derrière les nuages gris. La cendre est désespoir et espoir est renaissance. Les sirènes du port à un jet de pierre l'attestent, ainsi que les pieds qui claquent bruyamment des dents sur cette piste entre deux océans de verdure, que tes pas empruntent sans jamais y laisser de traces. Vers rivage de l'enfance, dans tes mains doucereuses, je cherche mon oublié, dans les chiffres et dans les lettres, dans le langage obscur des sciences, 12 moins 8 égale 4 et 8 plus 4 égale 11. 12. Le carré de l'hypoténuse d'un triangle est la somme des bonheurs qui se cachent sous les jupes des filles. Elles crient, elles courent, les filles, elles te sourient entre leurs dents. Tu es libre. Amigo, amigo, cries-tu. Amigo, où es-tu, amigo? Cries-tu au vendeur de sucettes. Amigo, où se cache donc mon oublié? Soudain, la sonnerie retentit comme un couperet, tranche le cou du rêve éveillé. Vers rivage de l'enfance, dans ta main doucereuse, je cherche mon oublié. Dans le livre gris ouvert sur la table ouverte, qui invite le doigt pensif à le tourner page après page. Si elle est pas malinga, malinga, mandutu, maninga, mandutu, owena. Si elle est pas malinga, yeah. Aussi c'est les Paul malinga malinga nandutu malane owa usongo. Aussi c'est les Paul malinga yeah. Aussi c'est les Paul malinga malinga nandutu malinga nandutu usongo. Aussi c'est les Paul malinga yeah. Thank you very much.
Yes, a very masterful performance by you, Timber. I can see why you've been awarded so much. One can just see even without, understanding the language. You're certainly a master of your craft. So we really, really appreciate that you've honored us with, both your time and your performance.
Yes, the same. It's really a great opportunity for me to join here, to discover all those great poets, and just to realize that we are coming from an incredible continent. And I can just wish all of us to keep following our dreams. We have too many things to bring to this world. We as African, we as Black African, we have so many things. So just follow our dreams. And I'm quite sure that this century is ours, definitely ours. And our poet also.
Yeah. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Tony. Thank you.
Yeah, the Chinese think it's their century, but we will show them. We will show this. We will show the Chinese. We'll ambush them.
It's our time. They already know what they could bring. So now it's our time. and we are so ignored in our greatness that it's our time just to prove that we can lead and we can really bring something. And I think as poets, it's we can bring a new energy into this world. So I really appreciate. I just forgot the name of one of our colleagues who thought about the Black Lives Matter. You see, so he wrote a magnificent poem where he quoted or where he cited Black Lives Matter, and yes, and I think really that's a matter of our time. So meaning that there is a movement here, there is something that is starting, and we as poets, we really have to put words into that and to do like our, let's say, I will not say ancestors, but let's say our grandfathers, let's say in the 16th, because they did that job also. So to really give some words that we learn at school. And I think our generation role is also to carve that movement, to make it meaningful. And it is not only concerning Americas, I think it's also concerning Africa, because it really, what is the place we want to get into this world? And our place is just depending on our effort. So we have to do it, and we will do it.
Yeah, thank you very much for that very rousing Pan-African and continental sort of discourse. You're a very passionate man. I don't know if you're a poet or a politician, but regardless, yeah, sometimes poets and politicians, because of the common bridge of words, are not as far apart as they like to imagine that they are. And we've had, I think, on this continent, poetic leaders like the most famous, I think, was Leopold Sédar Senghor.
Yes, right.
Yes, and yes, and just don't pull a Christopher Okigbonas there in Cameroon.
Thank you.
Yeah. So thank you very much, Timba.
Thank you.
For your rousing words, both by your poetry and your Pan-Africanism and continental patriotism, if there's such a thing. So up next, we'll have our friend from Namibia. It's called Kuhepa. Kuhepa in Kiswahili, in Kenya means, Kuhepa is to take off. Yeah, but I'm hoping that Kuhepa takes us with him and does not just take off. So Kuhepa, you're up next, my friend. Yes. There he is coming on board. Karibu Kuhepa. Yes.
Okay, can everyone see me?
Yes, you can.
Okay, hi Tony, it's nice to see you again. I don't know if you remember, I am the accountant you met in Namibia a few years ago.
Yes.
You gave us a workshop or something.
Yes, you're a hard man to forget. I remember you from a Windhoek 2 years ago. Yes. So it's wonderful to just see you again, alive, well, and poetic. Yes. So very, very welcome.
Yes.
My friend. Yes.
Okay. Yes, my poem, I'm going to do two poems. The first one is called The Desert of Bones, and it deals with the first genocide of the 20th century. So deals with the Kalahari, a place where most of our people were sort of like pushed into this desert where they ended up dying in different ways and so forth. So that's basically what it's all about. Okay, the Desert of Bones. I can hear them talking, their spirits wailing. They are not asleep, nor are they at peace. They were buried in the sand, dead or alive, abandoned where they fell in the desert of the Kalahari. Their spirits still roam the earth and our haunted dreams. Can you feel them in the air, floating in the wind? Should we remain silent if we show cowardice or betray their ancestors and generations to come, these stones will speak. The Kalahari soil is sanctified and as sacred as the bones that carried royal flesh and blood, only to be meat for the vultures. Kanyama Kolongui. That's the first one. Yeah. Tony was saying in Kiswahili the name Kuhepa means one thing. I like the Kiswahili meaning. In Namibia, Cherero, it means thank you. Yes. Okay. The second one is a theme that I guess that we can all relate to in a way. I guess it speaks for itself, and we can all relate to it. So the poem is called Book of Hunger, and this is how it goes. My friend is the only constant in the villages and slums of the inner city, where jail cells are reserved for petty criminals driven by empty stomachs. I have known her all my life. She is a childhood friend or a permanent scar that has shaped my destiny. She comes in countless forms and in diverse shapes and sizes, at times resembling marathon athletes, and others who live on a meal per day. And then there is the starvation of the poor, for whom fasting is not a choice, a hunger so deep and corrosive that it penetrates the soul and feeds on the spirit. Here comes the unwanted intruder, mocking us, even in our sleep. Foodmares, we call them, the dreams of food that will never materialize. It is a beautiful monster that can possess a man and drive him to a world beyond ethics, where bread alone is king. We are products of that eroding hunger, which feeds on the flesh of men and produces zombies who will slay to make a living. Hunger speaks when the stomach growls. I know the lingo. I can write the book. Thank you very much.
Kuhepa, yes. Thank you very much for, both poems. The serious history, I like the sort of the realism. One is historical and one is a very sort of a realism framed piece of work. So thank you very much, and I really look forward to just more hopefully interactions. Maybe we'll invite you to Nairobi one of these fine days alongside Mola, just to return the favor from 2019.
Yes. Thank you very much. I'm a Pan-Africanist, and I think it's one of those things where we call ourselves proud Africans, and then we have only seen a few parts of our beautiful continent. So I would definitely love to see the rest of our beautiful continent.
Fantastic. Thank you, my brother. Okay. So up next, we'll have my good friend, called Richard Busia. I don't know, Richard, if you have been mourning Magufuli, Pombe.
My goodness.
Because you're in Tanzania right now, yes?
I am, and we are mourning here.
Yes. Oh, you're mourning. You better mourn even louder than the bereaved, because I don't think Pombe liked Kenyans very much. So you must sing dirges and wail and show that you are hurt more than even the most patriotic Tanzanian.
Hurt in a good.
I'll never forget that. Yes, I'll never forget that the late Magufuli burnt our chickens at the border.
Bad. That guy was bad news.
Yes, for Kenyans. But I hear he's loved in other parts of the continent. So that's sure. A good thing. So don't read us the sad poem you wrote for Mr. Magafuli. Please, let's stick to what's on the liner.
Sure.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Asante. Thank you so much, Tony, and the other presenters. When you were speaking to Timba, you said regardless. I think you should have also used what your president says, irregardless. Mr. Uhuru Kenyatta. Irregardless. Right. So let me jump straight to my poem. I have two poems. One of them is a litany of wistful wisps, and the other one is called Synergy. A litany of wistful wisps. Lying here dejected, banging my head on the wall behind me, my pillow all soggy with tears from tired eyes, sorry notes rising from the bleeding well in the dark recesses of my being. And you come all tiled up with words rehashed to cool my boiling mind, to pull my tattered soul. And you think it will work with me this time? You want to fish me out of despondency with quotes from men of old, with verses from the Bible, with words from the Quran, with epithets scrawled on ashen walls, and you think it's going to work with me this time? My heart is immune to fireless rumblings. You know, a cold hearth cooks no meal. I need more than words to lift me up of this miry bog. Fish me not with eyes of steel that cut to the marrow. Fish me not with paper cords that can't stand their own weight. Extend your soft hand, reach out and lift my frail self. Resuscitate me with love divine as I lie supine, looking into your eyes, locking my heart to yours. Thank you. That's my first poem. The second poem is called Synergy. The live wires of feisty flashes while in the pool of brushes, lashing and lashing, crushing and bashing, hanging in, layering, swearing, glaring, blaring with the intensity of Mandarin acuity in this world of frost, the dark heart of a host whose smile is canine-filled, and a mind tortuously grilled carries the curry of dusty hope. Such is life, tough, rough, and even-edged, winding parts, beaten parts, a smile, a laugh, rough, a frown, your own, and time sipping, slipping through fingers gnarled with insipid reasoning in this fast, furious, fiery, wild world. Thank you, Tony.
Okay, thank you very much, Bwana Busia, for sharing your talent with us. Yeah, we are quite grateful for that. I hear that in Tanzania, that they are so slow that it's the fourth thing. When you say something, you don't say the first thing you think of or the second. You say like the fourth thing. Yeah. No, that's just a bad joke.
But I think you should come and visit this place. I think you'll have a different opinion.
Yes. I think I was there last around 10 years ago. Yes. No, that's just a little joke.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, Tanzanians are lovely people, and I just wish our Neema was here. Yeah, she was supposed to represent. Yes. Okay. So up next, moving along, we're going to have this poet. You'll have to forgive me because their name is quite not a mouthful. It's beautiful. It's poetic, but they are called a pure core Ashen, a pure core Ashen. Yes. Apiorkor, are you with us? Okay.
Yes, I am.
Yes. Yes, Apiorkor. Yes, you'll have to introduce yourself and tell us also, you know, that lovely poetic name, how you pronounce it. And
well, it's Apiorkor.
Apiorkor.
Yes,
Okay.
and there's a long history to the name, but I'll keep it simple. The ethnic group that I come from in Ghana, the Ghana group, and particularly from where I come from, which we call Bong in Shona, is the name given to the second-born girl. So Apiorkor means second-born girl, basically.
Fascinating. Okay. Welcome, second-born. Yes, let's hear what you have for us on this wonderful World Poetry Day.
All right. So I'll start with a poem that I call African Majesty. Because of course, apart from being World Poetry Day, World Poetry Month, it's also the month to celebrate women. And this poem does that. Ago, our blood is stained with centuries of undermined womanhood. Our faces are but a reflection of a heritage so femininely majestic. The chest of the African man is emblazoned by the shadows of the wretched pain that Royal Mother Africa endured just to birth him and his generation. The breasts of the African woman are heavy with a milk that is rich with the taste of the blatant intellect, the sheer strength, the powerful oratory, and the overpoweringly captivating beauty of the African queens who ruled the world for numerous decades. Before Mother Africa was overpowered by the schemes of the colonizer, the African queen was our economy. The African queen was our politician. The African queen was our warrior. The African queen was our protector. The African queen was our breadwinner. The African queen was our farmer, our cook, our dressmaker, our medicine, our healer, our teacher, our royal nation builder. The African queen was our mother. Ago, I am the Royal African Town Crier. I'm the voice of the extraordinary women who make our African heritage drip with the thick honey of royalty, of substance, and of pure majesty. Hear me when I shout at the top of my lungs that our blood is stained with centuries of undermined womanhood. Our faces are but a reflection of a heritage so femininely majestic. The chest of the African man, I say, is emblazoned by the shadows of the wretched pain that the Royal Mother Africa endured just to birth him and his generation. The breasts of the African woman are heavy with a milk that is rich with the taste of the blatant intellect, the sheer strength, the powerful oratory, and the overpoweringly captivating beauty of the African queens who ruled the world for numerous decades. We are the descendants of a womanly empire. We walk among the ghosts of royal woman power and royal woman fire. We are free because of the bondage of royal woman strength. We eat the fruits of royal woman labor. We live on the back of royal woman excellence. And because the African queens once lived, because the African queens once ate and drank of the earth's soil and of the sea's waters, today we are African Majesty.
Okay. Yes, Apiorkor, thank you very much for your majestic and, shall I say, passionate performance. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yes. I'm not sure what Meghan Markle would make of that royal stuff. Eh? Yeah, but who cares?
I'm not sure either.
Yeah, who cares what Meghan thinks, right? Or
we
Queen,
don't really care.
Or Queen Elizabeth either. Yeah. It's like this. I can see Timmy Tope as some hand signals. So yes. So thank you very, very much.
Thank you.
Thank you. We bow to you, Your Highness, and now we'll. Oh, is Timmy Tope going?
Sorry?
I see. Okay. Okay, that's funny. Yes. So now from Majesty, we'll just welcome a civilian called Novitsi with a very poetic name. I like it. Novitsi Dzitsierie. Yeah? Novitsi Dzitsierie. Yes.
It's good to be here. And my regards to everybody. I thank for the opportunity to be here, and I say hello, basically, yeah. Hello. Yeah, so if you could just lead me, I would then take a cue from you.
Yes. Yes, so the leading is your 2 poems ready?
Okay.
To
all right,
read?
yeah.
Yes. Then read
okay.
them. Yeah.
Okay.
Get
so,
right into
all right. I'll start off with this one I call Abelinkwe grinding machine. I'll tell you this, but you will never know you got me singing that mid-tempo dance hall in the bathroom, recalling you crying the lanky fella at the karaoke. I've attempted brain surgery, Abelinkwe babe. You were in full swing, turning this way and that, and yet looking nowhere like a nonchalant bird, as if you couldn't tell if anything was the matter. We know what you did to us who watched and cheered through the colored lights, blinking, blinding, yellow, green. But God knows you left the poor team mashed in the blue after mounting the stage without invitation, as if the song he chose to sing was in your ownership. As if from Abelinkwe to Ababana Junction, Kotobabi, you own the Spain in Accra by night. You own his body, accentuating his music. But no, you will never know you've been such a turbulence of an occurrence. You instant rogue imitation of a sporadic lover. You should be summoning the prophets, Okamwa, Nehum, but you will never know. So that's Abelinkwe grinding machine. I'll move on to my second piece. This is basically about death and what I think of it. It's called When I Come to the Last Orchestral Maneuver. There will be the summoning I must attend facing north across Adomi, and I shall go, but not without the ceremony of my dance at the bridge. All things shall drift this way, ducks swimming up the volta, cranes flying white and slow, a flutter of gray-headed sparrows bringing the burden of the heavy clouds. And this is just the labor of living matter under entropy, the choir master conducting our movements behind the curtains. The wind will stir the dust, and I'll be somewhere in the middle, with my feet dragging me up the twirl. You will not see me. I will be in orbit, concealed within the call of the clouds and the company of my shadow, mirroring the final glide home. But I shall stop and wrench myself free one last time at the bridge, without warning, to dance the giddy dance, with the embers of my fire lighting their very last. So that's it.
Wow, that's a very, people say, you know, that's a deep poem, but that's a deep poem, yeah? You know, it's really made me think, even sitting here, while enjoying it in a slightly terrified state, yeah? But yeah, very evocative, and when you talk about the cadaver stopping one last time, it must stop to dance at the bridge. It made me think of, you should check out the video of well, it's a rock video of this song called Helena, by, I think, My Chemical Romance. I can see your character, except in an African way. Helena also stops somewhere to dance one last time. Yeah,
all right.
Eternal journey. So yeah, very powerful, my friend Novitsi. And
all right.
Very right. Yeah, calm and embedded with power. That power of poetry. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you, brother. Thank you. Yeah. Okay, so up next we'll have the man who wears a toga. In terms of he's been around for a while, and people did say that they want to listen. You know, the powers that be in Moscow said that, can we get this gentleman also on? So Togara, I'm glad that you could manage to join us, and yes, we are eagerly waiting to hear your chronicles and other, any other work you may choose to bless us with today on World Poetry Day. Thank you. Yeah. And introduce yourself. Yeah. Hello, my brother. Yes, introduce yourself in a fulsome way. Don't be
in a
too
fulsome way.
Yes, yes. Don't be very modest. Yeah.
My name is Togara Muzaninamo, and I'm a Zimbabwean poet. I've been writing poetry, as Tony says, for quite a while. I'm not yet a dinosaur, but hopefully I'll get there. The poetry, I didn't know that I was going to read the Chronicles. I thought I was going to read All the Good Help.
Yes. Okay. Yes, you can read you can read the poem that you thought you were going to read.
Okay.
Yeah, what you think is what goes. Yeah.
I can try and read the Chronicles. I just have to find the text, if that's okay with you.
Yes. No, okay, but first start with what you have at hand.
Okay.
Yes. Then at the very end, if you have found the text, we'll get you back for an encore. So for now, you read what you have.
Perfect.
Thank you.
Okay, the first poem I'm going to read is from a section called Roots of Glass. And I'm not too sure why, but it was there was a title in the era. So the first poem is Roots of Glass. Having never fired a gun before, he held the rifle as though the weapon were a dying child about to say something only they could share. The sea quietly unfurling surf and salt into prayer he had once heard his mother's voice sink into. The ruin behind him echoed with moonlight, the moon falling back over his shoulder, silver and heavy like a slow missile. They were all dead, the men of the sand, the men who knew the make of helicopters by the cut of blades. He'd been told of the sea by them and wanted to hear its cool salt whispers, wanted to scrawl his name on the shore, feel the tide tug at his 12-year-old heart. And so he sat alone, quietly listening, cradling the rifle in his arms, a faint line beginning to part sky from sea, the smell of burning diesel growing strong. Come the dawn, there would be no escape. He would die, even the sea would burn. And the second poem, which I'm going to read, is also about a child, but this child is suffering from autism. The child's parents have both passed away. The poem is set in Zimbabwe. The child's parents have both passed away, and the child is now living with, she's a girl, she's now living with her grandfather who's a farmer and is struggling with his farming. All the good help. He will not understand her fascination with rain, these summer months of water that somehow keep the money coming in, paying for the nurses his granddaughter has slowly learned to trust. Now all the good help is gone. He feels he can spot liars with one look. And if he could, he would take care of her himself. All these prayers for a new body. She doesn't understand the joke, but simply stares out of the window, where an old broken down tractor stands in the backyard, grass screaming out of worn sprockets, joints rusting above slow gulfs of shadow, shot wild with foxglove. Thank you.
Yes, thank you very much for those very professional poems, Togara. Yeah, that was.
No, it's been an absolute honor, Tony, and I'd also like to thank all the other poets because I've been sitting here since you started, and the quality of the poetry is quite amazing, and especially the younger poets. We've got a very strong future ahead of us, and I really look forward to reading all of the work and seeing all of the work come out.
Thank you so much. Yes, thank you very much, Togara. In fact, I've just realized we are almost on the 3-hour mark, and it's among the fastest 2 3/4 hours of my life, genuinely. Yeah, if this was a church, it's like in church you'd be long asleep, but in this church of poetry, it's just flying. It's just flying. So yeah, that shows you just how fascinating Togara, you and the rest of this continental talent are in just capturing attention. Yeah, so I'm very grateful for that. So up next, oh my goodness, up next I think is, okay, there's Crystal Chetty, who has just joined right on the brink. Crystal Chetty, are you ready? Richard Booth here. Crystal Chetty. Oh, there you are. There you are. I was looking for you on the screen. Yeah. So wonderful. Welcome. Yeah. And you have arrived just in time, Crystal, you know, to share your talent and the work of your mind and imagination with us. So yes, thank you very much. Please introduce yourself and then go right ahead.
Sure thing. So greetings, love, and light to us all. My name is Crystal Tete, representing Ghana and Madagascar today, and I am connecting from Accra, Ghana. 2 poems coming up. 1. She wore a smile as thin as the screen that separated us. Then the violence thrust, her every orifice aflame. Take it, take it, take it. I watched her sedate and submissive, moaning and pleading while they barked and took turns. Take it, take it, take it. It was a place to discover female worship. I had become quite the voyeuse, turned on by the highs of my on-screen she-roles. But these girls, they spoke in rehearsed monotone, the attempt at seduction, revealing naivety, no less precious than my daughters. Why do they get to be whores? Their innocence, boxed up, shipped to Mars. Life is traumatic indeed, thrust into this sewer of unexploited dreams, uninhabited souls. Permission to breathe, please. I can't. Take it. Two, we tried to save her, mouth to mouth, pints of blood, in exchange for a second chance. Teeth and tongue, biting back tears. I wish I knew how it would feel to be free, she would say. In time, this time became the time. Free from loose bowels and ruptured arteries and unstable emotions. I wish I knew how it would feel to be free, she would say. Roll away, sail freely, lace blouse gently fanning your nipples. Roll away, arms stretched to fetch sun rays. They won't shine as brightly as your glistening skin. Thank you.
Yes, thank you very much, Crystal. No, don't worry about the curtain. That was very nice to watch. The wind, yours was, can we say yours was a wind assisted performance? I can see you already going the green energy way. So that was, it was fascinating to watch that curtain as you read us, your very serious work. I can see people. Sorry, Crystal?
I was saying thank you for the platform, Tony.
No, absolute pleasure. You can see on the chat that the poets are already becoming poetic. Timmy Tope is saying the breeze spoke to the words. Yeah. Yes. So thank you so much. Thank you. Yeah. Okay. And I think, Togara, Teti, Tony. So I suppose it's time for my poems. And I'm going to read you, let's see. Yeah. I'm going to read you 2 poems and 1 in translation. Okay. Let's see. Here we go. So this one is called The First 7 Days of Corona. And it was written on the first anniversary of Corona in Kenya, which was, I think, last week. Yeah. So on the first Friday of coronavirus, we went nuts for the lack of hand sanitizers to keep joints and fingers in place and stop us from going outright insane. On the second day, a Saturday, we sat in parks and slowly went mad as we stared at the solitary ducks swimming by. What we sorely lacked was not vitamin C, but our weekly fix of the EPL. On Sunday, we did not go to church. Instead, we switched on our television sets and stared at the Pope addressing empty squares in Rome. On Monday, more scared of our bosses than viruses, we didn't pick up our phones to call in sick or ask for permission to work from home. Instead, we picked our pickaxes, put on our masks, and like zombies, went about our designated tasks. On the 5th day of COVID-19, they shut down the schools and our kids became fools, also fat from sitting at home all day and consuming all their doomsday prepper foods. On day 6, we finally felt sick, and rather than self-isolate as we sought a fix, we chose to take one for humanity and self-immolated. On the 7th day of Corona, God walked upon the face of the earth, and looking at the empty halls, the empty walls, the empty malls situated next to kayaks with second-hand Toyota Corona for sale signs, the good Lord sighed and declared the world finally uncrowded, pristine, and immaculate. Christ, cautiously removing the gas mask from his face, said, "Cool, you care to come over to my place in Tunapuna Paradise? I have some Corona Light on ice." "Beer?" said the creator of everything we bear and bear nice. Okay, the second poem is called Ventilate. And it's called Ventilate. It's also on the same topic. If the body is the temple of the Lord, then Corona is legion. Devils who come in, wreathed in smoke, smiting the body with rod and scorpion, shrieking, "We are many, 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 and we are poison." Many sick things become dead things in this season. I've always pictured turning 60 or 70 or even 80-something with the liver bathed in fatty amino acids from drinking vodka, blood treated with heparin, mind treated to the ancient poetic heptameter. But now the lungs are drowning in corona waters and the penis is flaccid. I've spent weeks drinking from test tubes, pissing into catheter and breathing from ventilator, listening to This is the rhythm of the night. This is the rhythm of Corona as it cuts its aerosol cartography across the high dependency unit room. We called the music Death Hall. We recalled a damsel called Veronica, moaning one morning, nobody can stop reggae, as we played the harmonica with the dreadlocks in our hair and explored the contours of human geography. But by then, the air was already pestilential and dread filled our heads as if already we were dead. At the street corners of the filthy flesh markets of Wuhan, a manic street preacher called Guangdong urged the godless, batty, Epiton-eating Chinese citizens to repent and discover the salvation found when you become Pentecostal. Okay. And then this last one it's a comedy piece by Rook, and I thought it would be amazing to translate it into Swahili. So the Rook piece goes like this. Eleazar begat Finus, missionary style. Finus begat Abishur, standing up behind a tent. Abishur begat Buki, totally by mistake after a house party. Buki begat Uzi on the back saddle of a camel when he was taking Uzi's mom, who was 16, home after she had been babysitting for Buki's kids. Uzi begat Zerahiah, and there was a huge custody fight, except this time both parents told King Solomon, go for it, and his majesty split Zerahiah like a watermelon. That was when Zerahiah was 15. But by that time, he had already begun Meriahoth when he was high. But Zerahiah's mother claimed Meriahoth was Buki's kid, and everybody believed it because Buki was such a horny old goat. Meraioth begat Amariah, which surprised all 12 tribes of Israel because they were pretty sure Meriahoth was gay. Amariah begat Ahitub, who was so baptized because his mom had hooked up with Amariah in the local ritual bathhouse. Ahitub begat Zadok, or that's what Mrs. Ahitub said. Never mind that Ahitub had been away on a business trading caravan in Cairo for 11 months before little Zadok was born. And here's the Swahili translation of the comic poem that I did. Eleazar alimzaa Phineas akimdinya kawaida. Phineas akamzaa Bishua akisimama nyuma ya nyumba ya kamba. Buki alikuwa makosa baada ya sherehe ya nyumba. Buki akazaa Uzi akikalia ngamia. Nyakati alikuwa akichukua mamake Uzi ambaye alikuwa miaka 16 nyumbani baada ya kukalisha watoto wake wadogo. Uzi akazaa Zerahiah, wakaletana juu huko mahakamani, lakini wakaambia mfalme Solomoni, kata, naye akakata Zerahiah vile unakaya Kalonzo Musyoka, na shoka akijaribu tena kupita katikati yao. Zerahiah alikuwa kijana wa miaka 15, lakini alikuwa ashatia mimba ya Meriahoth, naye Meriahoth akasema ni mtoto wa Buki ambaye alikuwa mbuzi kabisa. Meriahoth akazaa Ahitub aliyebatizwa hivyo kwa sababu mamake alifanya bafu chafu kwa bafu chafu na Amariah kuma tamu kama amarula. Ahitub akazaa Zadok bila aibu, lakini wakashangaa wakasema, siu jamani yule shoga. Bibi yake Ahitub akazaa Zadok, na zile Ahitub ameenda biashara ya miezi 11 huko Misri. Hili ni jambo ambayo lishangaza kwa sababu kwa kimombo tunaiita a mystery. Asanteni. Asanteni. Okay. Okay, well, thank you. Yeah. Yes. So, okay, I'm just reading some instructions from dear Ekaterina. we must always listen to Moscow, and we are very grateful so far for Ekaterina, Natalia Azarova, and Svetlana, and the rest, for giving us this chance to perform. So we can have a short conversation. We still have some time left. We can have, like 15-minute conversation, like, just on a few things, like what inspires you, what you think about performing online. Okay, yes. What inspires you and translation online. So you can just come online and, just talk about, your inspiration. We can start with the person I'm seeing on screen is Timmy Tope. So Timmy Tope, please.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, now we can. Yes.
Yeah, it was a nice session. Even with the restrictions of Zoom, I think everybody brought their talents to fore, especially I enjoyed Akinyi. I am biased towards the female poets. I really enjoyed Crystal and all the other ladies. They were natural and they were wonderful.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you very much, Timmy Tope. We also found you to be a most terrific performer, and yes, and your words too, and your participation. I've been seeing you analyzing everyone in very nice ways, and they're just talking. So I'm very happy about that.
Yeah.
Okay,
yes, thank you. Thank you for anchoring. It was a pleasure.
Good. I've learned a new word for this hosting. I prefer your word. I like it, anchoring. Okay. So, yeah. Yes. So next I'll just talk to Crystal, since I'm just looking at where my screen is. Crystal, let me ask you, are your poems always so, are you a depressing poet? You can be powerful, but also your poems are a bit, are you a heavy poet, and why?
Before I answer, thank you, Tony. Before I answer your question, I'd like to send the love right back to Timmy Tope. Thank you. I tend to be heavy by nature. And perhaps the reason is that pain and anger seem to be my strongest motivations. I think I write from a much more intense, and in terms of the quality of my poetry, if I'm evaluating myself, I tend to appreciate the content more when it comes from pain and anger. I've written poems and I do write from joyful places, but they don't hit as well, I feel, as the poetry that comes from pain. That's unfortunate, but yes, it's my observation.
Okay, thank you. That of course is very valid. Yeah. Yes, we can't all be laughing poets, can we? Yes. So that it's such a stereotype of the pained poet, and which is quite cool. I'll now ask, again, I'm looking at my screen like a clock, like now I see Timmy Tope there, then I saw Crystal.
Yes.
So I'll be very democratic. I'll just go on.
I wanted to say something about Crystal.
Yes.
I love her poems. I don't think they are depressing. I think she has an understanding of the depth of emotion. And emotion is many things to many people. So I resonate with her poems.
Oh, okay. Absolutely. I'll say yes. There's a man who wrote about death, which I'm sure definitely that one is depressing, but he did it very well. Novitsi. Yeah. Are you one of those mortality poets, counting down the clock for everybody else? Yeah. Saying if COVID doesn't get you, the car outside will. We're all gonna die, man.
Yeah, hello.
Yes, Novitsi. Yeah. Share with us some of your dark thoughts.
Not really. I'm not into the dark so much. Or perhaps that's not how I see it. If it comes out as dark, that's a bit beyond me. So I do a lot of light-hearted writing. Yeah. And the bit about the deaf, I think it was more of an examination of my thoughts about what death could be. So if you read the piece, the point about wrenching myself free and having a giddy dance and all that, it was a sense of me saying, hey, this thing it may be as morbid or as whatever, but then again, one can have fun, and one can free himself in a way, even when death is approaching. That's how I was looking at it. Yeah.
Okay. Well acquitted. Yes, you've acquitted. You've acquitted.
Thank you.
Yes. Now let's talking of being acquitted. There was a man here who spoke of he seemed to have something against the law, Molapong. I hung out with him in Namibia a couple of years ago, and I'm wondering, if I was hanging out with a known fugitive. So, Kiamogetsi, Mola, if you're still with us, please. I like seeing those little red things going off and mute, then the video comes on. Okay, not here with us.
Yeah.
Oh, you are there.
Yes.
Yes.
I was not here. I'm here.
Like every fugitive, you hide away first. Yeah. I wanted alive and well poster for you.
You need to be mysterious so that the enemy gets confused. I think I wrote that the content of the poems so now and here. They are relevant to a lot of us. They are contemporary issues that are highlighted, and I think it will make a beautiful anthology eventually. And this has been a beautiful event, beautiful hearing other poets, their presentations, their use of words. I always say the only thing we have are words. And with words, we can basically shape minds. And I think through this platform, we have been shaping ourselves, sharpening ourselves, and then refocusing ourselves as poets, and looking at things differently and trying to appreciate what the world has to offer and what we can offer to the world, because we're doing better. And not only lives, poets better. Yeah, that's my point.
Thank you very much. And indeed, it is a powerful point, my dear Mola. Yeah. So does Zifa Gali have anything to say? What's been your experience with the translation and so forth? Gali, if you're there. Gali, can you join our gallery? Okay. Okay, then I'll just ask, I'll go to your compatriot, Mola, the wonderful Lyanna, who read us, an ode-like poem, Yes. Lyanna, great, there's Lyanna. Yes. So Lyanna, I think what I want to know is, do you usually do this like a very powerful long form of poetry, or do you have shorter pieces? I mean, are you like a writer of, like epic poetry?
It depends. It actually depends. I write long poems, short poems. So it's about how I'm flowing and what the message is that I'm trying to bring across. So some of my poems are really long. Some are like 1 minute, some are really short. So it just depends what is the message and what is the feeling that I'm bringing across, and from where I'm standing, which aspects in life I'm looking from that I want to bring forth. So yeah.
Yeah, okay. Thank you very much. And again, I'll repeat, that was a very powerful performance by you earlier. So thank you, Lyanna. Timmy Tope has a hand up. So, sorry, Timmy Tope, I missed your, yes, go ahead.
No, I've already spoken.
Oh, there was a hand there. Okay, fine. It's still there. It's a high five. Okay, there we go. A high five right back at you. So I'll ask Samata, as somebody who's transversed words, how it has affected his poetry. You know, like I presume, you know, like coming from Somalia to the United Kingdom. How is it to be sort of like, can I say, a poet in cultural transition? Samata. Oh, Samata is there. You know, after I've phrased that point so succinctly, I don't want you to go to waste. You know, we poets are very, with our words, we are very, because it's such a short, tight form. You don't like your words going to waste, not even when it's a question. Okay, I don't know if Samata is there. And, okay, so I'll just, I hope, let me see, Adipo Sidang, the new emperor. Tell us a bit about what inspires your very wide range of poetry, and especially its relation to you as a philosopher, because I know you are a philosopher, because you're one of my best friends. So, Adipo, Sidang.
Yes, Tony.
Ah, the new emperor is there. I thought you had abandoned the palace.
No.
Yes.
I cannot abandon the palace of poetry. It's like poetry paradise. I mean, I think first it's really a great thing. I hope you can hear me.
Yes, very well.
Great. It's really a great experience being here with different poets from across the continent, and it sort of gives you. I don't want to say that. Yeah, it sort of gives you the realization that we have really great talent across the continent. As someone mentioned, the younger poets. I don't consider myself young. The younger poets really have demonstrated that there's a lot that they can achieve, and with proper guidance, I think they'll be able to do even better. So now back to your question. Yes, Tony, I'm a philosopher. For those who don't know, I have a bachelor's degree in philosophy and a master's degree in philosophy, and currently I'm attempting to pursue a PhD in philosophy. So hopefully, if I make it, I'll be a doctor of philosophy in philosophy. Beautiful. So, yeah. So as my poetry, I started writing poetry, I think 1999. That's over 20 years ago. I was in secondary school, or what other people call high school, and I think I was in my first year or second year in high school. And at that time, I had not interacted really with philosophy, but I was largely inspired by the stories that I gathered from my people, my culture, and this really inspired my writing. And of course, also we interacted a lot with. There used to be a book in Kenyan secondary schools for sort of. It wasn't a set book really, but it was the go-to sort of book, the reference. It was called Poems from East Africa, edited by David Cook and David Rubadiri. So I did a lot of reading, and of course back then there was we didn't have access to the internet, so we couldn't really expand our world. And of course, poems by Shakespeare and Wordsworth, and so really that inspired my writing. But later on, when I encountered philosophy, I sort of got into that abstract philosophical kind of writing, and over time it has evolved based on my experiences, based on where I am, based on the kind of people I interact with, and of course based on the kind of poems or works that I encounter. And one thing that has become very salient in my
writing is the question about existence. Existence, so very existential issues. If you listen to my first performance, these works of mine, there are some existential equations that are very subtle, some are very overt, but nonetheless, they really reflect where my mind zones to. So sort of exist. So when I talk about existential issues, I'm talking about inspiration from great thinkers like Jean-Paul Sartre, who was also not just a philosopher, but also a poet and a literary writer. In fact, I think he was the first man to reject the Nobel Prize. Yeah, so, and I really love his writing, and of course people like Friedrich Nietzsche. But when you come to poetry by Africans and then other poets, you mentioned Christopher Okigbo earlier, and just wonderful poetry. Wole Soyinka, and even when you cross to the other side of the world, Emily Dickinson, Philip Larkin in the UK, so many things. So I think the thing is that poetry, you cannot really say that you're inspired by one particular thing. It's like saying, long time when I was young, I used to say, I only write poetry when it rains. Rain inspires me. Yeah, so I mean, it's sort of it's supposed to be something that is. I think poetry is both. It has form, but it can also be formless, and so is the sort of inspiration that you get. It's like water. Yeah.
Thank you so much, Adipo. And the truth is, if you had told me that at your grand age now, that only the rain inspires you or water inspires you, we would have to take you, arrest you, and take you to exile in Butalangi, so that you have a constant stream, so to speak, of inspiration. So thank you very much, Adipo.
Thank you.
Yes, poetry is the language of a soul that refuses to be emasculated. Richard, can you expound on that, about emasculated souls? Are you gender insensitive? What are you talking about emasculation? You have some gender insensitive poets. These days we don't even say, we also call women poets and chairmen. We no longer use the word poetess, chair lady, yes, which I think is a good thing. Yeah. So tell us about souls that refuse to be circumcised and emasculated.
Yes. Basically, even you don't have to. Garments do not have to be removed for one to be emasculated. Yeah, even women can be emasculated, as in a literary kind of way. I'm not talking of the physical thing. Yeah. Now, today I was talking to. I was giving a speech on during the Writers Space Africa seminar on World Poetry Day, and I think that's one of the things I said about poetry. What poetry is to me, I said. You see, poetry is about words that live, words that take charge, fearless and unbowed, especially in this era of freedom of expression. There's a thin line between freedom of expression and hate speech. And that I think that's one of the things that people as poets need to be very careful about. Poetry is the language of a soul that refuses to be emasculated. It is thoughts that breathe and words that burn. Poetry is basically very powerful. It's a powerful thing. That's what I was saying. And I also talked about myself. I take myself to be a person who is not given to talking too much. I'm so introverted, more than extroverted. So sometimes I usually write to bear all and whatever is in my soul, whatever is in my heart troubling me. So I write either using a pencil or typing. And then I take a step back and look at what I've written, okay, the incessant mental ramblings. And then I look at them and I question these things, and I question the words that I've written there. Why have you been giving me sleepless nights? You know, I quiz them, and then from that now I get some sleep as a poet. Yeah.
So basically, what I've gathered is like poetry is your Puritan, and that you are the solitary high priest of poetic lyrics. So yeah, that's what that's the takeaway. That's the takeaway for me.
The takeaway.
So we are going to speak to an extroverted and very exuberant, just to balance you out a bit. I want to speak Akinyi Oluoch. We call her the queen bee of poetry. And yes, and Akinyi can tell us, you know, just, you know, I've been about spoken word, which she hosts, and how she believes about, you know, stagecraft of poetry in this era where, you know, we are forced into sort of indoors and into little screens. So Akinyi, that's if she's with us even. Akinyi? She's removing her makeup, I think. Yes, she had that beautiful poem about removing makeup. Okay. Then we'll go to, then I'll give the last word because he sounded very much like a politician. To my friend, our new friend from Cameroon, Timba Bema. Yeah, Timba Bema can, you know, give us some Pan-Africanism here. Yes, I'll give him free verse. He can give us a few free thoughts in around, you know, 3 minutes or so, as we head towards the closing.
Okay.
Timba.
Yes. Okay.
Yes.
Well, let's say maybe just a point that I will have to say is that I think that poetry also mean, let's say, to be in the world, and to be in the world in a certain way. So there is a sort of affirmation. So you have to really state something. So maybe it's what you call political, but for me, it is just something that is making sense. So because you are really stating something, you are saying the truth about yourself, you are saying the truth about the world, you are saying the truth about what you see. So it's like you are engaged in a process where, let's say, you live with a lot of lies. If you consider, for example, our case in Africa, so it's a little bit a very interesting story, is that a lot of people wrote about us, and let's say they build up what they consider as the truth regarding us. And it's clear that, of course, for us, it was not the truth. And I think that we are also facing the same thing, and I can connect it with the question of, for example, the liberty of expression. Is that when we have, for example, some authoritarian regime that are imposing us or hiding some aspect of the reality, or don't wanting us to say some of the things that is going on. So I think that's also our role as poets, is to mention that, is to state that, so it's to put that, to bring that into the light. Someone talked about Wai Soyinka before, so I think that the connection here is just, you see, very, very obvious. And I'm not sure that we as African poets, we are very far, let's say, from the role or from, let's say, the question that drove people like Wai Soyinka. I think that we are still into that mode. And we, even if we want to think about our own, let's say, freedom, I'm a free artist, I have to consider myself and express myself. I don't feel like I'm concerned with, let's say, my country, or let's say the way how the continent is going on. I still think that you cannot be free if the society you belong to is not free. So at the end of the day, we are still coming back to what you call political, but for me, it is just a question of liberty at the end. So is that how can the society help me to be as free as possible, not to shape or to reduce or to contain my freedom, but to help me, or let's say to facilitate things such as I can create. Because if you are in a society where, for example, your freedom is bounded, you will never be a great poet. It's impossible. It's impossible. To be a great poet, you need a context, a society that is allowing you, or that is helping you, or creating some, let's say, some ways for you to be free. But if you are always, let's say, reduced, if you are surrounded by lies, like it's the case of us as poets in Africa, it's very difficult. So reason why I'm still talking about freedom. So this is what I will put first in my writing. And what I presented, so the 2 poems that I wrote that I call The Forgotten, so it is really related to the past. So what do we keep from the past? What do we save from the past? What can we save from that past? How what we save from that past is meaningful for us now? These kind of things. So for me, it's impossible as an African to to do another way. It's impossible because I have to rebuild everything. I have to rebuild my past, the past of my country, the past of my continent. So everything has to be rebuilt from scrap.
Thank you so
I have tried to do with this poem. So,
thank you so much, Timba. Yes, I totally appreciate your. That's why I gave you the last word. Eh?
Oh, I thank you very much for that. Thank you very much for that, Mr. Tony Mochama, and also to just tell you that I really like the way how you manage this festival. So it was a great pleasure to listen to you. The way how you adapt to every poet. It was very great.
Thank you very much, Timba. And even if he has disappeared, I'm very happy to pay homage and express gratitude to my fellow curator, Mr. Nee Parks. He did a lot of behind the scenes. Today we have just been, the front, but he's done also a lot behind the scenes. And I think with that now I'll invite our dear Russian friends, Ekaterina, and well, she'll tell us if there's anyone else she wants to speak. But we know, Russia is almost like the home of poetry. I've had the good fortune of being there a number of times in St. Petersburg, home of people like, Anna Akhmatova and the rest of the very strong sort of poetic literary tradition from that country, Osip and so on. So Ekaterina, please, our hostess with the mostest. Yes.
Yes,
lovely.
thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for coming here, for sharing your beautiful poetry with us. Thank you for hosting this panel, Tony, and thank you, Nee, who is, I think, not here, but you did a lot of work. You helped us. So thank you, everyone, for coming. I hope after all this coronavirus, you will come to Russia and we will see each other, go to places, read poetry. So, yep.
Okay, spasiba, Ekaterina. Yes, and of course you've been wonderful in just sort of whipping us into shape. Yes, yes, we were scared of Moscow, but with your charm and your diligence, you managed, I think, to get every poet actually coming on, and that's not easy with this continent to get everyone on board. Yes, so thank you so much for your your patience, and yes, we definitely hope to see you in the in the not too distant future. Please, we are scared of AstraZeneca vaccine. We will take Sputnik if it will help us to start to travel again. Yes, yes. So again, I say spasiba, and to everybody else, I want to say, oh, here's Harriet. Yes. So Harriet, you've just shown up, eh? Let's see. Yeah.
Yes, Nena. Hi, Tony.
Yes, Harriet and Nena. You know, there's someone who always shows up just as the curtain is winding down. So we cannot, in fact, you're the perfect person to see us off this session. We'll consider you the song. You know, there's the song that comes after the film.
Yes.
When the film credits are running up, you are that song.
Okay.
Yeah, that is you. Yes. So please.
Okay, so should I go?
Yes, you are the song after the credits are now rolling up. Yes, so your performance is the song.
Okay.
Yes.
Thank you, Tony. Womb memo. The mouth of a baby freezes on a country's nipples, eyes inquisitive at rivers that changed course to dwell on faces. She arrived today without a sound, like a memo was delivered in the womb for a cryless exit. The first melody was not that of mother humming, hush, 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 but of machines beeping, and people praying for the loyalty of breath. Maybe she heard already about borders whose keys are gathering rust somewhere. If she hadn't, she'd be squirming a little inside these sheets. And she refuses to respond to her name, like she knows that somewhere a family is digging up the name of a loved one from statistics flashing on the news. There are no bubbles being blown today, no faces to blow them into. Everywhere, everyone is a lone brick inside walls that keep inching closer every time a siren pricks into the silence. The things we choose to forget. We kept history asleep for years, grateful for the numbness that replaced the pounding in our bones. The mind did well, killing what our ears failed to block. Like the voices that told fathers, we will make you women, which also meant we will make you non-human, which also meant we will desecrate your dignity. We latched onto imposed normalcy, willing the mind to make no resurrections for things we refuse to call memory, like how deep they dug gullies into our flesh, like how fast we flowed with red, like how hard we felt pain until it was nothing. We have come so far, but our bodies refuse to recall that they were once guitars, strummed by bullets. Thank you.
Oh, okay, Harriet. Yeah, you came just in time, eh? And so you're the climax of the show, and you're the part where the champagne has just, poured out of the champagne has just poured out of the bottle. So
thanks, Tony.
So thank you so much. And
You're welcome.
yes, and I like your background.
Thank you.
Are you standing behind a river, before a river?
No.
Okay.
No, it's a photo of the Hudson River that I took.
Yeah. I was worried that you want to jump into the Hudson River.
No.
Just as a closing act, you just vault over the bridge.
My actual background is that.
Bring back the Hudson River.
Okay.
Yeah. You have to learn how to do that.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you so much. And
Thank you.
yes, I guess thank you to everybody. And this has been wonderful. And we've actually had a full house from everybody who said they would show up. I actually thought Anena ongekuja kunena, but you have. So
Yeah.
very grateful. So thank you, everybody. And you know, yes, truly, see you soon somewhere in the world. Yes. Thank you so much. Thank you. Okay. Yeah. As they say in Russia, Das Vidanya, wonderful African poets. Thank you. Yeah.